Neither of us would show up. We'd both be on the most severe BIPOC time ever because we'd be trying to make our points. I think because we're both so stubborn and competitive, you guys would be staring at like James from Modern Day Debates and then just like two empty Zoom screens, and James would be mad because we're both so late.
Well, you see, the thing
funny,
is Jay is got that, you know, he's not late. He's just time. What is it called? What do they always use an excuse? It's like time deficient or something like that,
like
where it's like
time impaired or something.
Time impaired.
Time blindness.
Time
blindness. Yeah.
Into understanding this kind of stuff, because if you think about it, like, I don't want to degrade the office too much, but like a priest, Orthodox priest, they're masters of human psychology. That's not all they are, but if you hear for decades people's confessions, you're going to be a very good psychologist if you're good at it, right? So you're going to understand, you know, not just human weaknesses and stuff like that, but you're going to understand these other influences, and hopefully have the discernment to know when the influences might be from the divine or when they might be from something else. You know, one of the things that Father St. Seraphim Rose talked about in his book, Orthodoxy and the Religion of Future, is that he warned about coming mass delusions and what would sort of dupe large amounts of people. And one of the things that he tied into Hinduism and New Age type stuff was also not just yoga, but the charismatic movement. And he was very insistent that this charismatic movement will continue to grow because it stresses the direct existential ecstatic experience as if that's necessarily from God, when it could very easily be from the demonic. And I think when you look at the manifestations in the, you know, the domain of charismaticism and how that's now crept into the Roman Catholic Church, it's crept all into the Protestant evangelical world, and it ties it very closely into, you know, ancient sort of Hindu practices. That's the type of Christianity that's growing in Africa, Latin, South America. It's rampant. It's a massively powerful delusion because it replaces traditional Christianity with the idea that it's something akin to voodoo, basically. And if you study voodoo, it's very, very similar to charismaticism in the way that anything that you experience trumps what's in divine revelation or what's in church tradition. Like, it's all about the direct sort of ecstatic experience. And so it doesn't matter what happened or came before. Then that might sound like it's not that big of a deal, but take, for example, Anne Lee, right? The founder of the Quakers. Anne Lee thought that her ecstatic experiences were God telling her that women should be pastors, women should be prophetesses, women should run the church.
It's literally the same demon since Montanus.
Yeah. Yep.
Over and over again, well, it's the same errors.
Hinduism is interesting because if you look up some, like, especially some of the more like guru oriented cults in Hinduism, because Hinduism is just like a hodgepodge of a million different religions, frankly. But if you look at the more guru oriented cults, they have all the same trappings as a lot of charismatic and Pentecostal groups, where slaying of the spirits, they have, like, it's almost identical. Like, they'll touch them on the forehead and they'll start flopping around and having like these seizures as if they are being slain by the spirits. It's almost identical. And I remember seeing a video about that. It's the one thing that I still think that Wretched TV did really well, is they actually did a comparison and contrast between the two, and it was like eerily similar. So,
second actualities, Alex, do you think Augustine taught the filioque? Honestly, the thing I read from Augustine recently was the On Grace and Free Will, like that letter he wrote to the monks on grace, and because I was more interested in, like, if I could say actually Augustine was a synergist or a monergist, and after I read that, I'm like pretty convinced that he believed in synergism. It's been a minute since I've looked at De Trinitate or Augustine's De Trinitate. I would have to revisit it. Because I know there's like some dispute about this. That said, Jay has read more Augustine than me, so I would I would defer to him. But yeah, I'll look into that again. I'm open to changing my mind on it. It's true or not. I know Farrell also wrote about this, and he's pretty convinced Augustine taught the filioque, I think, if I remember correctly. So it's a topic I would have to revisit before I speak on it with any more certainty.
Yeah, with confidence.
But maybe I can debate Jay on that. I don't know if I want to publicly do that because, you know, I don't want to wreck him too hard in public. No, I'm just kidding. Oh my God, the comment's going to bite me in the butt. Nah, Jay would destroy me. Ibarra's recent post says Jay misled Tucker on a number of issues. As I demonstrated earlier in the stream, Ibarra can't even string together a narrative. He just like machine guns random facts that are
Hold
like
on, hold on, hold on. He does not stream machine gun anything. He's very slow about it.
He's got like a slingshot, just with unrelated facts. It's like very bloated.
No, he is not a
Yeah.
very quick speaker at all. So
Yeah. Let's get to the eschatology here, and we'll close it out.
I want to wrap this up to go back to Orthodoxy and its view of the future. It's eschatology. So like a lot of, and this is directly related to the power, I think, of Christian Zionism, because that derives from the Christian Zionist belief about the end times.
Mm-hmm.
And given recent events, I think a lot of people are starting to think about history as a linear track. Is like, there's a beginning and end to history. Like everyone feels that that's true, and there's going to be an end to all this. Who knows when it comes? But there are a lot of people who are very focused on that. I don't know what I think of it. Probably bad, but whatever. Leaving my thoughts aside, what is the Orthodox view of the end times?
Yeah, one of the crucial components to contrast the Orthodox perspective to those sorts of dispensational Christian Zionist perspectives is that they've missed what the first advent, in our view, did. So we don't believe that the kingdom of God is postponed to the end of the world. We think that at the first advent, as Christ says many times in the gospel, the kingdom is here, the kingdom is in your midst, the kingdom is the presence of the Holy Spirit.
This generation will not pass away before I come back.
And we believe in what's called partial preterism. And the church fathers, especially Chrysostom, emphasized in his sermons on Matthew 24 and Luke 21 that the destruction of the temple in 70 AD was the finalizing of the reality of the kingdom coming into fruition. So in other words, it's appropriate that the temple would pass away now that what the temple was a type of, which is the church, is here. So now that the church, which is the true temple, has come, that is the surpassing of from type to antitype, right? So you wouldn't go back to types now that the reality has come. So much of what's in the Old Testament, whether it's the temple administration with the showbread and the lampstand and all that, those things are fulfilled in our view, what the Orthodox Church is. The Orthodox Church possesses those things in the here and now. So sometimes in theology, it's called the already not yet principle. So the kingdom of God, the end times are here now. They began at the first advent. So for us, for example, the book of Revelation, most evangelicals, that's the end of the world, and that's John Hagee and the 7 blood moons of Israel. No, it's now. Like we live in the eschatological reality. When you go to the divine liturgy, that is heaven on earth now. It's not a postponed end of the world. There is an end of the world, but Jesus brought the end of the world at his first advent. And one way that we know this is that most of the time when you ask, that type of an evangelical Zionist or whatever, when does the reign of Christ begin? Oh, when he comes back. But every time Psalm 110, which is sit thou at my right hand until I make your enemies your footstool, every time that's cited in the New Testament, it's cited about his ascension, which happened after he died.
This was like huge when this clicked for me, that like Daniel 7's talking about the first advent and the ascension, and that we're in the church age now. Like understanding the book of Daniel, I feel like is so important for this stuff to get your eschatology right, because there are like so many different like trust me bro interpretations. They don't really have the weight of the fathers behind them. But like you get Saint Andrew of Caesarea, his commentary on Revelation, and Saint Jerome, honestly, his commentary on Daniel, and Saint Cyril of Alexandria's commentary on Isaiah. It's like, I'll kind of wrap it up for you there. Ubi says the only people he can't respect are fat people, especially clergy. That sounds like something Ubi Petrus would say.
Nah, Ubi doesn't have much of a filter when it comes to that stuff. Classically.
He's a salt of the earth, a blue collar guy. I freaking love Ubi Petrus. He's smart as heck. Also, no filter.
Oh yeah, I mean he reminds me. He reminds me of like my military mates when I was in the military, and yeah, there's no filter in blue collar or military grunt, enlisted level. So it's always funny to listen to those kinds of people.
Ubi, the impaler of Gen Z. Yeah. He has like those videos and streams recently about like how to get a job in the trades, how to like find a girlfriend. I'm like, the Ubi is the person that needs to be doing that, because he'll just be like, okay, you guys are a bunch of idiots that want to get your lives together. Let's start from square one.
Well, I'm not going to go into that right now. We're not. The married men will not comment on the current dating sphere. Let's not do that right now.
He is our online dad. Ubi would be the best. He's the least blue collar guy of the blue collar guys. Hey, he's just like super well read and knows like a bunch of original languages and
A lot of blue collar guys
yeah.
are really well informed. Believe it or not, some of the most well informed people I know are truckers because they sit there and
Well,
listen to
IP
podcasts and
was
history things all the time.
wasn't IP like in construction before he started doing this YouTube stuff?
Yeah, I
I
think
thought he
so.
was for some reason. Yeah, he's also a blue collar guy.
Same with bottom of the rabbit hole. I can't remember his name now. Reader
Paul, I
Paul.
think.
He's a
Yeah.
blue collar guy.
Yeah. Ubi definitely gets picked on at the job site. That is not correct. Ubi is the boss at the job site. Ubi's got a good gig over there.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right, let's
resurrected. It's not about the end of the world. It's about the ascension. So the church is the kingdom. And if you go back and read the prophecies in Isaiah, in the Psalms that talk about the conversion of the Gentiles, that began when Jesus and his apostles out throughout the Roman Empire. You have this prophecy in Daniel 2 that the empire under which this Messiah is born eventually becomes the kingdom of the Messiah. Within 3 centuries, the Roman Empire becomes essentially the Orthodox Catholic Church. So we see all of that as fulfilled when he ascended and began his reign in his church. Thus, there is an end of the world, but we don't sit around speculating about news headlines about when that's coming because we're already in the end of the
Dude, okay, name is Craig, says steel worker, 150-ton crane operator checking in. I when I first got started in litigation, I was working at this boutique law firm, and their biggest clients were labor unions. And dude, the crane operators union, they had the nicest stuff, dude. They make so much money. It's unreal. The crane operators union, like that is a nice gig. Hey guys, if you're open to like, you know, a lot of responsibility because it's like huge liability to operate one of these cranes, like go try to be a crane operator. Like that's a nice gig, and the union is really nice, dude. Really nice. Sparky's X chat suffers no representation. Well, here you go. Here's the representation. Here you go.
Well, it's
the
weird.
world now when we go to the divine liturgy.
X is so weird because like the like you'll see like a lot of people watching and it'll just be like dead on the like actual discussion.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, because I feel like it takes a few clicks to get to the chat section on X. There's a barrier to entry.
Yeah, I think it's I think they need they need to make it more live stream friendly for sure. So
Yeah,
that is the eschaton in the here and now. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. It does make sense. So that kind of like changes your responsibility as a Christian living in the world.
Exactly. And it also doesn't make us worship some atheist nation state in the Middle East that was created by the Rothschilds and the UN in 1948.
Oh, that's not in your liturgy?
No, I'm saying like my my duty is not to John Hagee's shofar and the blood moons or whatever. Blood moon pies.
What are blood moons?
You know who John Hagee is.
Yeah.
Well,
Tucker like doesn't get it.
Tucker,
he is such a boomer.
Yeah, it's not funny once
he always tries to play on whatever.
Oh yeah, it takes the zing out of it.
Yeah.
I can never be mad at John Hagee because he just seems so lost. Sad. But he's a deceiver.
Yeah, but I mean, he was doing this big thing a couple of years ago about the blood moons of Israel. The end times are signified by the blood moons. So I just made the joke of blood moon pies because if you know what a moon pie is, it's like, because he's a portly fellow. But
yeah, he is. Yeah, no, he's at the moon pies. So does that? But it means then the Orthodox are not waiting for the next life. They're like engaged in this one.
Well, it's a both and, right? So it's not that we focus all of our time and energy on the here and the now, or politics or the social order. We have sort of, I guess, tiered responsibilities. I mean, obviously, for us, kingdom of God would come first. The church is what comes first, but that doesn't negate, the goodness of this life. So we believe in many goods, not just good or evil, right? Like you might have in the history of the, say, Middle Ages, the Latin Church, this idea that, well, to be celibate and single is good, but if you're married, that's somehow bad or lesser, right? We would say there's many goods versus this idea of a sort of a strict good or evil. That comes out of the dialectics that Augustine had a very specific idea that, just as an example, he said that marital sex in his mind, St. Augustine said, could never be, even though he admitted it's a sacrament, he never understood how it could be a sacrament, because for him, it always involves some degree of venial sin, because in his view, man's will is either enraptured with God or with some created thing. And if it's enraptured with a created thing, like in the moment of sexual release, then you're in some way not focused on God. So he had a dialectical view of sin and good and evil and of the will. The Orthodox view doesn't have that view. In fact, we think that there's a possibility of many different goods. So married life is good and has graces, and there might be certain advantages to living a single celibate life, but it's not inherently somehow holier than if you're married. And a lot of more Orthodox monastics will even admit that a lot of married people can achieve a higher level of sanctity even than some monastics, because just sacrificing itself is not, I mean, I desire mercy, not sacrifice, right? So just sacrificing itself doesn't necessarily equate to a more holy status in the Orthodox perspective, although you might be able to do certain things that you can't do if you're married. But that's a very different attitude from sort of like medieval Roman Catholic attitudes of like sex and marriage.
What a conversation. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I wonder.
Honestly, W.
It was a great. I mean, I don't think you could get much better than that. And a Tucker interview almost always opens doors to even bigger, like not bigger podcasts, but other big podcasts. So I think you're going to see Jay probably be on more of these things going forward. So
Hopefully Joe Rogan. I think that'll be all of them. If he gets on Tucker and Joe Rogan,
those
there's
are the two biggies.
not really any left. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like what, the PDA podcast or whatever.
Patrick Bet David.
Yeah.
PBD.
PBD. Yeah, there's that. And what is there? What's that one guy that's like, he talks like with a really drone. He's like, today I am with Jay Dyer, a comedian. It's like he has that drone voice. What's his name? Oh, that's gonna bother me now, but I can't remember now. But he has that drone.
Video integrity, $5. Jay is so far ahead of anyone he debates. He makes them look like flat feathers. I think he means flat earthers. He's forgotten more about debating than others will ever know. Yeah, he is the best. He's been doing this a long time. He knows all the arguments already.
Is there a single person you think is even comparable in terms of philosophical knowledge and the ability to comprehend these things anywhere?
No, I think rhetorically, there are people that get close, but I think on substance, if you're counting both rhetoric and substance, I think Jay is
way
kind of a far first.
I can't think of anyone, even in other countries necessarily. Like even in the English speaking world, I don't think there's anyone that's even particularly close. So
FDA in substance, FDA.
Yeah. But he doesn't really debate.
Girls Gone Bible.
Hey, one of them ended up going to Father Josiah Trenham's church. So
yeah,
at least one of them.
I want Jay to pre-sub Girls Gone Bible. It would go right over their head, dude. They wouldn't even. Alex Soren is getting there. Well, hopefully, by God's grace, inch by inch, brick by brick, people.
Well, it takes a lot of guys. Remember, Jay has 10 years of philosophical training, debate, and also just like sheer amount of time to like study the material than Alex. So keep that in
Or are
mind.
you talking about Lex Friedman?
That's who it was. Yes, the guy that has like that droning voice.
Sparky asks, what is tag? It's transcendental argument for God. So he says that the justification for transcendentals is God. You need theism, and Orthodox Christian theism is the only one that makes sense and is coherent and doesn't collapse on itself. So FDA versus Matt Slick was a great debate. FDA exemplified patience. He did. I could understand, like, as clergy, I feel like you almost can't let loose as much as you'd want to, because you have to maintain a certain level of decorum or something. But yeah, that was a very good debate. Interview with Tucker and Jay there. Very productive, very good. Like the comments said, very good presentation of orthodoxy, focusing on the positive case. And I think Jay was very winsome in that interview. Very winsome.
Yes.
Alex, would you mind sharing with the chat the petition to stop New York State from building wind turbines around the Jordanville Holy Trinity Monastery? Yes. Let me just make sure. I did see this earlier, so I tried to pull it up. I think this is it. Right. Stop the proposed windmill. This is it. Somebody in the chat confirm. Please. You covered the Orthodox priest that destroyed Father Trenum after the. I don't think anybody destroyed Father Trenum
No,
after the
if you're
Girls
talking
Gone
about
Bible thing.
that priest that is got dubious origins that people can't figure out, like he doesn't list his bishop. He has a parish, but no parish website. No, like there's no parish information. It's very weird. He's a very weird guy, but like his he's just going on. He's going on and on and on slandering Father Josiah, and I don't know a single bishop that would approve that kind of behavior. So
That's so weird, dude. Like, all right, I put the petition in the chat, guys. That priest is an actual Fed. Well, there you go. Dyer brown nosing is max cringe. I mean, is there a better debater? Just tell me instead of just calling
Yeah.
me a brown noser. I don't. Right?
we
Like,
gave reasons for why. Can you give us reasons for why he's not?
I've convinced 2 friends of Orthodoxy, and now I'm moving on to converting a coworker. Good. That's awesome, man. Excellent work. You know, it says at the end of James that if you bring someone back from the error of their ways, you save a soul and you cover plenitude of sins.
Mhm.
So please review Father Josiah on Girls Gone Bible. I don't know if I can watch that again, man. I watched it once.
I watched it
very
once.
good. I'm glad that Father Josiah went on. Like, look, if we're gonna baptize billions, we need people to go on those platforms, right? Because they have a large reach, and those are like the normies,
And
right? So we need to reach the normies.
That's a very female-coded podcast too, and you got to remember females are into, like, not always, but generally speaking, they're not into watching me and Alex Soren. They're watching evangelical girls like Girls Gone Bible and things like that. Like, that's what they're watching. So there's got to be
Yeah.
some level of grace there too.
I had no idea he was on there. He's the best part of the interview. Also, okay, here is where it is constructive to watch that, is because sometimes I forget that not everybody is into theology and church history. And sometimes the way they ask questions, like normal people, the way they ask questions is wrong. So Father Josiah provided a masterclass in like listening, reframing, yet still addressing like the substance to their question.
Yeah.
So it's like
Very
it was
pastoral.
very good.
Very pastoral.
Yeah. Nick, do you have your thing up?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
All right, let me set it up I'm gonna close it out in a few minutes here. Is it Jay Dyer on Tucker?
Yeah. That one.
Cool.
All right. Well, hey, thanks, Alex. It was a good time, and
Yeah.
Jay, man, that was such a good stuff. But man, so
Butt stuff.
so I did verify. So you know, they are trying to deny that the Miko guy's diocese has basically come out against what he's teaching and stuff like that. Yeah, he tried denying it.
He's just a guy on Twitter. Like,
Yeah.
I don't.
But it's kind of funny
Whatever.
because literally I've seen the email back and forth now between the diocese and the person in question who reached out to them. Yeah, they're pretty explicitly against him. So it's like these guys are just, they don't have any. This is why they won't debate you. This is why I'm bringing it up. The only reason I'm bringing it up is that they won't debate you because they can't find a clergy that's going to be able to back what they're saying, because that was the one
That would
stipulation
actually
you
sign
gave.
off on what
Yeah.
they say.
Exactly. So
Yeah. All right. One last thing. See you later, Nick.
Yo, Timothy, what's up?
Wait. There. Wait. Where's my thing? Fix.
Jay Dyer should go on the Skillet Guys podcast. Actually, that would be unironically not a bad idea. At all.
There we go. No one's allowed to see my moving boxes. It's terrible. I'm too lazy to unpack. Oh, packing is for people who probably want to know where their stuff is, I imagine.
Probably.
Jay Tucker on Dyer. Whoa, dude.
Yeah, it was pretty.
There we
It's
go.
pretty good.
Ha!
Cobra Kai.
Oh
Cobra
yeah,
Kai.
gotta represent Cobra Kai, dude. You can't be like, what are you, lame?
Both lame and gay.
Johnny did nothing wrong.
So
Do you want to talk about the fact that Conor McGregor lost a fight because he quoted the creed with the filioque in it?
so true. That was the biggest reason. Dude, when I saw his, like, everyone's saying he faked it, but like no, it's clear he overextended that knee. Like he went full force in that knee thinking he was going to connect to the chin, and I could see it, they shown it on slow motion. You can see when it pops and you're like, "Oh."
It's sad just because it's part of getting older. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
think a lot of people are.
he's done now. He's not fighting
Yeah.
again.
And he shouldn't, right? And it's like he did good while he had his chance. You know, he had his time in the sun, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I'd rather if you are a fan of him, I'd rather him just take his don't thrash your body up anymore, dude. Like, it's a young man's game. People don't really understand that when it comes to UFC fighting and stuff. Like,
I've said this 100
30,
times.
it's it. You're done.
Yeah, you're peaking at 30 and you might have like a gradual landing.
Yeah,
But
if you're
yeah,
lucky.
like look at Novak Djokovic. Like Novak Djokovic in his early 30s was dominating everything, right? He won every single, like he was winning every single Grand Slam, like not every single one, but he was winning like a vast majority of them. He was dominating, he was getting to the finals basically every Grand Slam. Yeah, and now he's still doing good for his age, but he's struggling to get to the semis or the quarters now.
Yeah.
Like he'll get knocked out because the younger guys are starting to catch up to him. The younger guys are starting to go, oh, he's not quite at peak form anymore.
Well,
So
like I always say, sorry,
go ahead.
go.
No, I was just gonna say, like Djokovic, he's got to kind of change the game a little bit, and so he's being much more careful about how he plays. He's not being as physical. He's being much more technical in his play, which is not his area. His area is being just raw physicality, better, more endurance, more stamina than all the other guys, and it's starting to catch up to him. He's getting older. He's got maybe 2 more years left in him before he retires. I hope he wins one more, because then that'll seal him as the GOAT basically forever. He'll never
Which
have.
would be good. We all love an old guy able to win. He says, I'm 35 and I hurt my back doing warm up deadlifts. I hurt myself every morning just getting out of bed, so don't feel too bad.
Guys, I literally went to the doctor the other day. Now this isn't normal, and I'm working on it. And the doctor said my knees should heal, or at least not to their peak, but they should heal. I have the knees of a 60-year-old.
Yeah.
Like that's how much.
Dude.
Like that's how much. How close. Like That's how close together my knee. Normally your knees are supposed to like have this much cushion. Mine are like really thin amount of cushion, and so I'm taking all that heavy impact. And they said it's possible to rebuild the cartilage in there, but I have to do low impact exercises. I have to do. I'm probably gonna have to do some peptides at some point and get some injections to get them back up to shape. So which I'm not looking forward to.
What's stupid is, and this is like a good example of like people were talking about Eric Ibarra, and I was like, well, if he's losing weight, that's good. Someone's like, oh, but he might be on peptides. Who cares? I don't really care. To be frank with you guys, especially those of you who are young, don't know this yet. I was diagnosed with special operator syndrome when I got out of the Marine Corps. My test levels dropped to like 260, 270. So if I wanted to have like a normal, healthy life, I would have to get on test. There's just no way around it. And to prove my point, you know what happens when Conor McGregor got hurt? They put him on tren, prescribed by his doctor. Why? Because that's what you do when you get hurt. So like those of us in the military who like broke legs, got seriously injured, what should have been immediately the case is you should have been prescribed tren. You should have been made to exercise to work on those muscles, like your knee, for instance.
Yeah, they
The
never
moment
did.
it started hurting, they're never going to do that for you. And it's not a matter of money, is what frustrates me, because it's a matter of like there's a weird hatred and phobia towards people using anything to help you get healthy. It's like, well, so we can use medication for everything from headaches to sleeping, but God forbid you use it on anything that makes you healthy and live a happy life. It's
Well,
ridiculous.
the military's biggest problem is that their entire thing is reactive medicine. They do reactive medicine in the military. They don't do proactive medicine, which is, hey, how do we head off people having problems? We get them
Yes.
into there should be a chiropractor at every single military base who's booked all day long doing chiropractic.
I
There
can
should
tell
be
you.
2 at every single base, frankly.
So one of the advantages of being in a special warfare unit is I actually got to see more of the behind the scenes. They brought in NFL doctors to the
Yeah.
unit I was in at the time, and the NFL doctors literally walked up to me and said, "What the hell does this unit do?" And I was telling him the stuff they do, and he's like, "Are they trying to kill you?" And they tried to tell him like, "Hey guys, like you can't have them running like 10Ks all the time and stuff. It's not good for you." And as soon as they left, I remember the staff sergeant, the Ranger Regiment staff sergeant, looking at me at the time, and he said, "What a bunch of fags." And I was like, dude, he's trying to help us from not dying, like, sorry, dude. Like, I have really strong legs. So, like, you're like, my knees hurt. I'm like, I'm lucky. My knees are
Yeah.
good. I could squat 400 and something pounds when I was in active service. Obviously, that's gone down since I got hurt. But
Yeah.
my
Well,
point being,
this is the thing that frustrates me is that
proactive medicine isn't too expensive, though.
it's actually
It's
very
actually
cheap.
cheaper.
The problem is they don't cover it with insurance. If it was just covered with insurance, it'd be fine. A lot of like chiropractic, a lot of states don't allow Medicaid or Medicare or these other like medical insurance companies don't cover it under their schema. I need cookie says hi Nikolai, hey, how you doing? But no, I think the big thing is they really need to reorient that. And again, yeah, amazing. It's like telling a genius, oh yeah, rucking, 5 miles 2 or 3 times a week is gonna hurt somebody's knees. Yeah, no kidding. Like carrying like 60, 70 pounds on your back and walking uphill both ways is gonna take a toll on your knees. Shocker, right?
Yeah, shocking.
Like it doesn't take long for that to wear people out. And the thing is, like, peptides aren't expensive either.
No,
They should have caskets, like cases and cases and cases full of peptides, and they should be giving that regularly, especially to the special operation guys.
no joke.
Um,
My doctor I went to, nice lady. She says, "Hey, so you need to get on something, and you just need to drop like to where, because I'm like 20 or 30 pounds overweight. She's like, just drop below that." And she's like, and then just get on like a high test or some tren or something like that. And I'm like, can you get this stuff prescribed to me? And she's like, no.
we got the Alex Soren raid. Thank you guys. If everyone was jumping in
Soren,
from Alex Soren, much
Eagles,
appreciated.
pig snake raid. Hear me out. Can we get pig snakes?
Why is everyone talking about peptides? We're talking about how when you get old, you just break down. And so it is a young man's game to be like super intense when you're young. So do those things while you're young. If you're gonna get into the blue collar work, you don't want to start when you're 40.
Yeah. Well,
Because
my point is like if you're a carpenter and you bust your knee, they don't give you anything for that. You'll be lucky if they give you painkillers today.
yeah,
Nikolai, you want to be able to walk after, be able to walk normal when you're 60? Ha ha ha, you're very funny. No, that's only for transgender people. Only transgender people are allowed to have testosterone and stuff like that. It's ridiculous.
yeah. Well, the thing is modern peptides are like really good, like and they're super safe. Just look into
Yeah.
look into it. They're immensely safe. And I've seen people that started taking peptides that had basically a useless knee suddenly have relatively full function of their knee and
Hmm.
almost no pain. Same with the shoulder. Like I have a bad shoulder, bad knees. This is what happens when you're in the military, guys. Like guys,
Yeah. It's just the way it is.
the basic training alone, you should look up the rate of how many people have permanent injuries just from basic training. 7 weeks of that intensity of working out kills people's knees, their shoulders, their joints. Like it kills them. And like a lot of women, have
Oh gosh,
permanent
yes.
damage,
Hip injuries.
permanent,
Yeah.
huge injuries. So why are we talking about this stuff, bro? Just because we were waiting for some of the people to come in.
Yeah, I wait for you guys to show up.
We were waiting for you guys to show up. So
We're happy to have you here.
You can enlist at 40 if you bust your knee. That's 25% towards total and permanent. I'm guessing you mean disability. BPC 157 helped me recover some back issues. Yeah, absolutely.
I had a friend's mother, by the way, who joined the army when she was 40. And she got a waiver. And I said, if I ever say your mom wears combat boots, it's not actually an insult in this case.
Actually, guys, the chain of events that led us to talking about peptides was Conor McGregor lost because of filioque. Conor McGregor's knee giving out was just a young man's game. Young man's game led us to talking about
So
once you hit 30. So there was a connection there. It's called autism.
Well, it's a funny story. I'll give you a quick funny one and for the chat here. I don't know if any of y'all were ever diagnosed with ADHD when you were kids. True story. They tried to diagnose me, and my doctor pulled me in and was like having me read some book or another about the Roman Empire, and I'm like explaining it to him. He says, "Ma'am, your son is not autistic, or your son does not have ADHD. He's just intelligent, and he thinks school is boring."
Well, I had ADD, so they diagnosed me with ADD, not ADHD. I didn't have hyperactive part. They just said that I was too easily distracted, and I'm like, and then my mom,
dude.
Yeah, I was just bored. The moment I started doing semi-reasonably well at school, as soon as I found books that I found interesting, because I would just read them during class when it was during a boring class that I was already like read up on, like if I was already ahead on. So it's like, and I would just start reading. So that's what made me into a reader. But anyways, tomorrow is the feast day of Saint Nicodemus the Hagorite. Yes, based doctor. No, really though, peptides itch works. That is true. Okay, so we're gonna go into this. So Jay Dyer's had a lot of people responding to this thing.
It actually started with us talking about Eric Ibarra because I was saying he was losing weight, and I'm happy
that is
for
true.
him.
Good,
I am happy for him. So like, because we want him to become Orthodox and give up his ridiculousness. That's what we want.
Well, yeah, him adopting PSA makes it even less likely. But that being said,
he could just be a Miko fan. He could be.
Yeah, I guess better than nothing.
No.
So here he says Jay Dyer was given the privilege to speak on a large platform of Tucker Carlson recently. I'm not sure when it was recorded. It doesn't matter. As one would expect, I didn't agree with everything Jay said. That doesn't mean I disagreed with everything. Okay, why do you have to like preface? I hate it when people preface everything. I didn't agree with
trying
everything.
to be nice.
Just get to the point.
Yeah.
Everyone knows you don't like Jay. Like we all know that. However, some things were said that could be misleading. No doubt Tucker himself was likely misled. On one issue, it came up at the 34-minute mark, 34-minute 9-second mark, where Tucker brings up how the Catholic Church forbade the Bible from being translated into the common tongue, so as to forbid all people to read it on their own. There's a mixed truth on that. We've covered that before. It's mixed truth. Tucker goes on to praise Luther for translating the Bible into German so that the common folk could read the Bible themselves without the mediation of the church. Then Tucker asked Jay, in correlation to Luther, did the Orthodox Church do the same as Luther? Dyer responded, yes. In fact, one of the many differences between pre-Vatican II Roman Church and the Orthodox Church is that the Orthodox Church always put in the vernacular, and this is true. The idea is that Jay was saying that the Orthodox Church never forbade the laity from reading, and thus that's not what he said. Right? Like right here, Eric Ibarra is lying, guys. To be very clear, he's lying. That's a lie.
Yeah.
That's not what Jay said.
No, that was Tucker's assertion.
Yes, and thus encouraged the Bible to be read in the vulgar tongue. Okay. However, now again, this is the common refrain that everybody uses to attack orthodoxies. They go to the Council of Jerusalem 1672, and we're going to read this in a second. However, at the Council of Jerusalem 1672, which over a century after the Reformation, the Eastern Orthodox Patriarchs with universal reception. That's not entirely true, but we'll get into that date later. Specifically forbade the reading of Scripture by all. That is not what that says, and we'll see how Eric is a liar. So again, these guys have to play fast and loose with the historical facts and the reality on the ground. Should the divine scriptures be read in the vulgar tongue, common language, by all Christians? This is question 1. No, because all scripture is divinely inspired and profitable. We know, and necessarily so, that without scripture, it's impossible to be orthodox at all. So first off, they're saying, yes, you need scripture in order to be orthodox.
What? I thought we hated books, dude. What the heck?
Nevertheless, they should not be read by all. Does that mean that they're forbidding the average layperson from reading the scriptures? No, that is not what it's saying at all.
Anti-Nicene Christianity, dude, is an example of someone who should not read.
Yeah.
Should go to liturgy.
Exactly, but only by those who, with fitting research, have inquired into the deep things of the Spirit, and who know in what manner the divine scriptures ought to be searched and taught and finally read. But to those who are not so disciplined, or cannot distinguish, or who understand only literally, or in any other way contrary to orthodoxy, what is contained in the scriptures, the Catholic Church, knowing by experience the damage that can cause, forbids them from reading scripture. So notice how he's trying to distract you from all this stuff in between. This is the fallacy of ellipses, like me and Timothy often talk about on this channel. There's a fallacy of ellipses. They want you to focus on the underlined portion. They should not be read by all, forbid them from reading, forbid them to read scripture, forbidden, prohibit. Notice how he's emphasizing those words and not understanding that the context before that tells you exactly what this means. He's saying people like, so the people that are forbidden to read him are the people that do these things that he talks about. Those who are not so disciplined, or who cannot distinguish, or who can only understand literally, or in any other way contrary to orthodoxy, that which is contained in scripture, are forbidden to read them. But who applies that? To the average Orthodox person, you go and read the daily readings. You should be reading the daily readings. You should be consuming the divine scriptures with what? The guidance of your spiritual father. Your spiritual father, and by extrapolation, the bishop, is the one that determines these XYZ things. That is not what is happening. That is not what Jay said, and that's not even what Tucker said, by the way.
No.
So Ybarra lied.
Yeah,
this is a
the
lie.
bold-faced lie. Especially if he's Catholic, he should at least have some discernment on such things.
Yeah.
But I mean, let's be honest. All these Catholics are all the Catholic apologists. I think Father Stephen Young pointed out. You'd be remiss in not realizing that they all believe in Vatican II. You know, because they all actually do. Except for like these rare ones that are apologists. I do want to respond to something in the chat too. Is one, of course we acknowledge Rafa. Of course we do. He's based. It's true. But what I want to point out is Saint Cyril and Methodius invented the Cyrillic alphabet just so Serbs and Slavs could read and pray in their own language. Exactly. That's what Jay was talking about. Catholics did not refuse. It's kind of a myth, the Bible translation, but it is important to remember Catholics do believe Latin is magical.
Yes,
they think
they
Latin
believe
is
it's
a uniquely magical language. That the devil, if you said out the name of Jesus in English, would laugh at you and go, "You don't even know Latin."
I'm a bad YouTuber, guys. I didn't even put a super goal chat. See, like me and Alex were just talking about this. I'm such a bad YouTuber. I always forget like the basic things like that. I put on a
Leather
goal,
Daddy.
guys.
Do you want to go debate? They want to know if you want to debate Leather Daddy Albrecht. He looks like Wes Watson, but Catholic.
I see. Here's the thing. I'm only going to debate a Roman Catholic if they're willing to debate the current reality of their church. I don't care about all these historical jargon. Sorry, I don't care about how you interpret Saint Leo the Great. I don't care about how you interpret the controversy around the Fifth Ecumenical Council or XYZ.
That's not what Catholicism is anymore.
Yeah, I care about what Catholicism is now. And defend your current pope and the current reality of the papacy.
Well, I mean, look what just happened. Did you see the video the Pope posted where he said everyone keeps bringing up the gay marriage stuff? He says, although I told some of the German churches to not do it, they did anyways. I don't really care though, because I have more important concerns than gay marriage, such as how we treat immigrants in our countries and stuff like that. And yeah. I think he doesn't really grasp that the issue there would be you are not at the border blessing illegal immigrants as a Catholic priest. That's not your job, right? If it was, then I could see the discussion there.
Yeah, 100%. And I just want to finish this off because I think it's important to just emphasize how much he's lying here. Indeed, it is permitted to every Orthodox to hear the scriptures. That doesn't sound like prohibiting them from understanding the scriptures or using Latin when they don't speak Latin. It sounds like it's in the vulgar tongue. That he may believe it with the heart unto righteousness and confess with their mouth unto salvation. But to read some parts of the scriptures, and especially of the Old Testament, is forbidden for these and other similar reasons. For it is the same thing to prohibit undisciplined persons from reading all the sacred scriptures. So who is prohibited? Undisciplined people. Undisciplined people. That means, for example, catechumens. They should not be reading the scriptures by themselves. They should be doing it with guidance. Again,
Hey, can you
this
show
is
me
in
a
the
college
scriptures.
class? Can you show me a college class that you take where you just read a book and you don't receive any insight from a professor or?
None. Zero. Not a single one. As to require infants to abstain from strong meats. So again, it's saying as you mature in the faith, you will be given more room to be doing the readings yourself. That's all this is saying. So Eric Ybarra, guys, lied.
Again, like the whole thing about Catholics, it wasn't just that it was if the Orthodox Church was in control of the West, there would have never been a Reformation, number one. And number two, you would have had, like, for instance, High Church German probably, which probably would have been the liturgical language in England and Germany today. But it's not, because the Catholic Church was obsessed with Latin and would never shut up about it. So, and guess what? You know who else doesn't like Latin? The Catholic Church, which just banned people and declared them schismatic and excommunicated them for the crime of saying things in Latin.
Yeah, basically. I mean, obviously, the real reason is that they were making their own bishops. But the point is why did they feel the need to make their own bishops? Because the Pope and the Vatican refused.
Germany's
That's
a
simple.
puppet state. Silver Ogre has been a puppet state since after the 1940s. It's not.
Yeah. Well, I'd say
it is
after
without a doubt the most right-wing country in Europe. If you actually live there, you'd know that. But I'll tell you the truth: they're not allowed to vote.
the leadership class in Germany are not really even German either.
No.
They're a bourgeoisie pan-European class. It's the same thing in France, the same thing in Belgium, the same thing in the Netherlands, same thing in England.
Yeah.
The ruling class of those countries are not actually ethnically of the people, the native peoples. They're all part of like this kind of like generic
a rootless international clique. It's very odd.
Exactly. Very, very weird. Very weird, guys. We might not want to bring that up here. We could get some demonetization.
I didn't. All I said was it. I didn't say anything else.
Yeah. All I'm saying is that some people
funny.
put 3 parentheses before and 3 parentheses after these people's names. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm gonna say. Ybarra is so long-winded, it's painful. He tries hard to sound academic, and it comes off artificial sounding. Yes, he doesn't have a natural flow to the way that his thought processes work.
I do want to point this out too. This is actually in regards to Ybarra and the Latinizers.
Yes.
Nikolai. You notice that the Latinizers instantly will team up with like the true Orthodox, Protestants,
Uniates,
Catholics, Uniates. They'll team up with these people instantly. It's the same kind of people. It's the same kind of thing we see everywhere, right? Where just like the true Orthodox, who are supposed to be more rigid and anti-ecumenist, are instantly going on JP's stream to glorify a Protestant who is has Swiss cheese for brains, according to Ash Mays, who I agree with on this strongly.
Yeah.
I just want to say, like, and to clarify my point, yeah, Miko basically admitted to being a communist. He said, "Why would that make me less Christian, though?" And I was like, okay, dude.
They're not serious people. I mean, we're going to cover this now. This is about the SIG stuff, and people have asked me about SIG. And I had somebody in the chat, in Alex's chat, ask me about how I ended up in Korea. You're more than welcome to ask me. Just chime in the chime in the chat below. So we can do that. But
Berlin.
We're gonna...
Oh, that's cool. Sorry, I don't know if were you American Army? Sorry, German chat. I'm just excited. Sorry. Let's just.
I think you should debate Albrecht, dude. Well, everyone, I'll debate him if he agrees to debating the current reality of the papacy. I'm not interested in getting bogged down in history because it's my position is that both sides can make reasonable arguments for their position, and therefore it's null. It's null. And so
Ban
therefore,
EOX Johnny. Ban him now. How
I
dare
gotta
he?
check something real quick without slowing down your speech. Can you say denomination? Is that it?
Ban him. Kidding.
How did you end up in Korea? Probably a plane. Yes, that is true.
Could be a boat though. Could be a boat. Could be a ship.
Not very many
carrier.
people take boats anymore places. Though I do think that that form of transportation should become popular again. There's something about it. Sailing the seven seas.
I want to see Zeppelins come back is what I'd like, but never gonna happen.
Were you deployed in Korea and got wifed up? No. I married my wife prior to joining the military. She got pregnant, and then I joined the military because I needed stability.
Wait, then how did you meet her?
College.
Wow. Hey. I made the same assumption because I was like, everybody does that, don't they? Except me. I was like a loser. They're like, want to go pick up chicks? I'm like, I'm building bombs.
History is done. Once you change the creed, you no longer belong to it. Yeah, I had agreed. England is still a monarchy, but it is receding its sovereign domain from the nation's apparatus. Yeah. Well, it's a monarchy in name only. They're just basically figureheads. They haven't had any meaningful
They
power
have
for
the
a long
ability to
time.
dissolve parliament. That's not entirely accurate.
I mean,
the king or the queen at any point could step in and actually dissolve parliament and do a bunch of stuff.
yes.
But now hold on. Kim Jong Un's sister's cute though.
Remember during the games? Oh, we got Macaulay Roofing in the chat. Do you have a favorite icon? Yes, my favorite icon. Actually, let me pull it up. I'll just bring it onto the screen. I'll show you. My knees. I was given this. Well, shoot. I have two. Hold on. I'm gonna show both.
Can we all do our favorite icons?
Okay. These are my two favorite icons. My two favorite icons. By the way, Macaulay Roofing, if you guys need website work stuff done, please reach out to me. I think I emailed you before, but probably got distracted. But yeah, if you need website stuff done, I do need the clients. So, this is my patron saint, Saint Tsar Nicholas II.
That's a cool icon.
This is one I believe was painted by a monastery in Russia, and I was given it on my name day. But yes, it's actually starting to crack slightly, so I need to get it retouched up by my bishop. My bishop is an iconographer on his spare time. Yeah, so I'm gonna give it to my bishop and ask him if he can retouch it up a little bit because. And then my second favorite is this one. And it's the Synaxarion of the Saints of the Far East. So it has Saint John of Manchuria, or Saint Jonah of Manchuria, Saint Nikolai of Japan, Saint John of Shanghai, and Saint Mitrofan Yang, who are all saints in our church. And they're holding, obviously, an icon of the Mary presenting the Christ child.
So my favorite icon that I own, okay, since Macaulay Roofing paid enough for a third icon,
so true.
Is my oh no, hold on, let's see if it'll focus on him. Oh no, there we go. Is my Jesus icon I got from a friend from Russia at the time. Again, like long story short on my conversion was I was served my entire time in the military surrounded by angry Russians and Serbians, and a friend of mine who's actually in the Donbass army now had bought that for me and gave it to me as a gift, and I've had it with me, and I carry it with when I drive with my car. He rides with me. I wish I could get a case for it because it's starting to fray. I need to find a way to cover it up, maybe put like saran wrap or something.
I have arrived.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
if
we
you
synced
if
it.
yeah you I gave you a call, Macaulay, and we talked, and I think we just kind of got lost in the ether. But yeah, if you do need a website, I do websites for money. I am working on an AI product right now, but to make
That would be
side
a
money,
fun video.
I do websites.
Favorite
I
monarch. You could do
I
favorite
don't
monarch
have a
per
camera,
country.
Dennis.
Someone said like
So
if you could do a one about Saint Tsar Nicholas. I'm like, that'd be a fun one. Do favorite monarch from every country video. That'd be fun.
I will email you again. How about that? I'll email you again, Macaulay, if you're interested. So because I know my folks live in Cape Coral actually, so I probably will be going out to Cape Coral this summer if I get this investment. So if I get the investment, I'm going to be in Florida. So
So I
I'll
need a
try my best.
cookie. You're gonna want to look up Freed Indeed Ministries. He's somebody I know, and Timothy should know. He has a really good series about Saint Tsar Nicholas.
Very
Yeah.
good.
I do plan. I can do a stream just about Saint Tsar Nicholas II, and it'll be basically me just scrolling through 70 facts about Saint Tsar Nicholas II and his reign. Because he
Favorite
was
monarch
just
of Australia. King Richard Lionheart. Sorry.
from Australia.
Well, he's not from Australia, but he is the rightful king of Australia.
That's true.
I know. You thought you
Oh
could
yeah.
trick me.
No, I understand, dude. I don't take. I
Why
don't
is
take
he
any
in Korea? Scammers are using Korea now. What the hell? Kim
Yeah,
Jong Un's over there sending you. Like,
no, I'm in
send his
Korea
sister.
because my wife is Korean. I mean, that's really 90% of it right there. So,
Hey, the
and
next
also because I was
video-
military, I was Air Force, U.S. Air Force out of Korea. So, but yeah, when is the second TTRPG stream? So the first official session should be this coming Friday evening. Timothy, right
on
below
the
me.
on the feast day of Saint Tsar Nicholas.
Oh wow,
Based.
yeah, I didn't even think about that. Timothy is going to be the DM, and we got I think 4 or 5 guys that expressed interest and want to do it. So
Yeah.
if it goes well, and if there's a lot of support from the people, and guys want to see more, we will do more. It's just kind of nerd out a bit.
Yeah, I need a
Um,
cookie. I recommend Freed Indeed Ministries because it's somebody I know personally. It's somebody Timothy should know too.
hey Macaulay, I will email you, okay? So just expect an email. It'll be from my business email. It'll be cblazing@monarchcybersolutions.net,
Dude,
okay?
it kind of does sound like a scammer name, though, Macaulay. Now that now I'm thinking about it, it's like Sea Blazing. It's like, dude, was it like a dude stripper name? Like what?
I can't control my last name.
Dude, you have the coolest last name ever, dude. What am I supposed to say about it? There was a Marine I knew called Youngblood. It was the sickest name, and he sucked, and I hated it.
There was a guy in my Air Force time. His name was Love.
Ooh.
His last name was Love, and everyone just called him Love. Hey, Love.
Everyone was, in fact, JoJo characters, except the characters I made, but it was quite funny.
Something tells me that Nikolai is a fan of Tsar Nicholas. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a hero.
So, anyways, yeah, Macaulay, I'll reach out to you just to wrap that up, and then we'll move on to this next section of what
I used to go to church with that guy. He's a good guy.
Macaulay?
No, Indeed a Cookie's talking the guy.
Oh,
Macaulay Roofing is funding it. His real name is. Wait a minute, hold on. Is Macaulay Roofing our KGB handler?
Grifting on my channel? Yes, guys. Anybody who needs website, guys, I need to be a good grifter. Anybody who needs website work done.
That's not grifting. That's advertising.
That's advertising. Buy some coffee brand coffee. That's grifting.
It's like.
No, listen, I actually did have that coffee. It's okay. It's not bad.
I buy coffee from Orthodox people only.
So Macaulay Roofing, if you are my KGB handler, I want to make this very clear. I really need some 77 grain OTMs.
I also haven't gotten a paycheck.
So
I haven't gotten a paycheck since I was ordained.
If you can just drop 545 by 39 on my doorstep. True story. Yeah. I have a buddy who sends me things from Russia, and he sends it through Georgia, and I always get it. So just letting you know.
I want to break down. So, guys, the main purpose of this stream was to talk about a little bit about Jay. Nikolai cannot grift, bro. He sucks at it. I do suck at it. That is true. We just hit 1 million views on a short. Wow, congratulations. That's huge, by the way, but you need to integrate it into your website. Just sales pitch right there. Okay.
It's a pretty cool idea, but it'd be a lot cooler if I did it. I'm just saying. Probably.
Anyways, no, I actually, real quick, because I have to shamelessly plug myself here. Hold on. Let
Oh,
me,
whoa, what is that?
While he's shamelessly plugging himself,
let
I'll
me,
say there's also a seaman I knew named Seaman Hull. Hull.
I am actually the person that does this website. I manage this one, and I manage 2 other ones, and I can show you those as well.
German names are the worst to have.
Kongmin Lee. I'm the one who made this. Kongmin Lee. His website. I made it so all of his podcasts show up. The top videos scroll through. He can watch his
Is that
videos
a roof
directly on
Korean
the
base
website.
at the Daewoo? Daewoos are cool. Very cool.
So I made this. So
You're hired. You got a job. Yeah.
but it's
I'll
it's
make
good.
it with Wix.
No, don't do that. Wix is literally the cancer of the website making sphere. The fact that they're still in business literally is a crime
In the
against
Extreme
humanity.
Pro, if you give us $100 right now, you can direct how the show if you want. Macaulay Roofing is currently the top contributor, and technically is our KGB handler. So
Conman Lee, Conman. It's like a soft
Kong.
G. Kong, like Kong. Kongmin Lee.
Like Khan from King of the Hill.
Yeah. Was that a Telegram logo? Yes, I use Telegram.
Anyone who has anyone in Russia has to use Telegram these days.
I use Kongmin uses Telegram to
You have a GoDaddy. Please stop.
I have a oh Lord. You know, GoDaddy's hosting. It hosts websites. It doesn't necessarily do all that stuff. But anyways, we're gonna continue with the actual topic of this debate. Enough selling my services. I'll reach out. So glory to God to work with good Orthodox folks. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Exactly.
In contemporary academic theology, penal substitutionary. So this is from SIG. Now, guys, I'm not going to be too mean to SIG because some people really like him, but I have my criticisms of him. Okay, but
I'll be mean if you want me to.
You can be the mean one, but we'll get into it here in a second. He is going to break down why he thinks PSA is not PSA. So basically, he's going to try and say PSA doesn't really mean PSA.
Mountain Bailey.
It is. Yeah, it's a Mountain Bailey. He's just going to say like PSA means this thing that is like this abstract concept, and it's like a spectrum. That's what he's going to argue.
It's a spectrum. Okay, dude.
So, in contemporary academic theology, now notice what he means when he says contemporary. What does contemporary mean, everyone? Timothy, what does contemporary mean?
Contemporary, like normal?
Or of the time.
Yeah,
of the time.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. It's normal. That's what it means. But yeah, of its time.
So
yeah.
Immediately, he gives away the whole case right away, saying contemporary academic theology has no bearing on the origin and the traditional usage of the term, and its meaning. So right off the bat, contemporary academic theology, penal substitutionary atonement is best understood as a family of substitutionary models rather than one narrow late Reformation package. This is untrue. PSA, the term, didn't even get coined until the late Reformation period. So there's no possibility that it could just mean a family of substitutionary models if it wasn't even coined until people developed a specific understanding of it, right? So right off the bat, he's just wrong on that. You know, he says here, the core shared claim is that Christ satisfied God's righteousness by suffering the penalty or due sanction and curse of sin in our place. His incarnation, the very incarnation was being accursed. It had nothing to do with him having to suffer a penalty to take the curse. It had to do with what? Him taking on human nature was him condescending. It was being accursed, right? He was lowering himself through kenosis, right? Like, am I out of left field on this, guys?
No, you're not left
No.
field.
Got it. So I just want to make sure. Let me know if there's anything that I might be saying that's untoward, so that we might participate in his righteousness. That's not what PSA believes. PSA requires forensic imputation or double imputation, as it's
To be very-
otherwise called.
To
I'm
be
on
very
a
clear,
spectrum.
what Sig just told me today, and Miko and some goober loser named Light, who I was tearing holes into all day because I hate him. Basically, what they outright told me was what they mean by penal substitutionary atonement in writing was they said it means God is just because he has to have something to satisfy his wrath. That is their perspective.
So they believe that there is
That the
preconditions
Trinity,
in God.
well, they believe that the Trinity was satisfied by sacrificing the Trinity to itself. Yes.
So
I said
preconditions
that's-
in God, which is
Yeah.
anathematized at Black Renee. Got it.
Well, again, and splitting the Trinity too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, 100%. Guys, continue to talk real quick. I have to remember to send this now, otherwise I'm gonna go talk about something more. I'll be right there.
Timothy has no chill. Yeah.
No, I'll be honest, these guys have pissed me off as someone who's lost kids. So I have no sympathy or respect for someone who would tell a mother who's carrying her dead child that her child goes to hell, no.
Yeah.
That's not what the church teaches. Sorry. It just ticks me off. These are the same people who are like, "Oh, gasp! I can't believe this priest buried a guy who wasn't through his catechism yet." And I'm like, who the heck are you guys?
That's normative.
Again, I would tell you that's up to my priest. If your priest or your bishop wants to do it, I'm not in charge of bishops.
That's
I
something
know
that's-
it's normative.
that's
I'm not
something- yeah, that's
confused
something
about
that's
it being
normal.
normative. What I'm saying is it doesn't matter, even if it wasn't. I'm not a
Yeah.
priest. I'm not a bishop. If I have a problem with my priest or bishop, I contact another priest or bishop and ask them to help fix it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and actually,
Sorry about that, Justin.
and actually
Lord of mercy.
comparing, stillbirth to a catechumen dying is actually pretty much the same thing. This person was in the womb and hadn't been born yet, but we still treat them as a Christian because they were in the womb and hadn't been born yet, and we do the
All right.
prayers for them.
Yeah.
All right. I had to do this or I would have forgotten. I did send an email to Macaulay. So Macaulay, you should have gotten an email just now. There we go.
It does sound like arsenism.
So now let's continue. This so he continues here and he says this is distinct from but built upon earlier medieval satisfaction theories. This is correct. So penal substitutionary atonement is in some ways it extrapolates certain other things, but why does it see, this is the thing he's not really mentioning. Why was it necessary for PSA to extrapolate or build upon satisfaction models? Well, that's because from the reform perspective, they needed the ability to defend their view of sola fide, double imputation, and other aspects of Protestant theology that was not compatible with earlier satisfaction models. Because those earlier satisfaction models were adopted from who? Anselm, and by extension, the Roman Catholic Church. So Anselm's classic satisfaction model presents Christ's work as an alternative to punishment, an act that restores divine honor. And the reason why Christ's action is I can never say this word, supererogatory, is because not only does he do what God requires, absolute service and fealty, but actually takes on something that he shouldn't, death. As a result, the doors of salvation to all is an excess, as it were, to what God owes him. So basically, Christ's payment is so much bigger than what was owed that God has no choice. Notice that God has no choice but to forgive everybody if they accept the down payment, right? If they accept the down payment, God has no choice but to accept them, right? Because that is the way he took it in place. Furthermore, without the sacrifice, God is so dishonored by what we've done. What is the result? he cannot forgive us. So God's forgiveness is completely contingent upon this exchange happening, which is why in the Council of Blackernay, we overtly condemn exchange-based reconciliation models. Those are not allowed. Anything that puts necessity on God is disallowed at Blackernay. So that means if satisfaction puts necessity on God, it's disallowed. If PSA does it, it's disallowed. Any of these systems that put necessity on God are disallowed. So there we go for that.
Also makes God evil. Point that out
Yes.
too.
Yes, 100%.
God forgave people in the Old Testament, for the record.
Yeah, without a single sacrifice being offered, by the way.
Wow.
Aquinas develops this with the language of satisfactory punishment, in which Christ voluntarily bears penal consequence on behalf of others, while carefully distinguishing this from strict personal transfer of individual sin guilt. Yeah, you can try and distinguish it, but it doesn't really work, frankly. The Reformers, especially Calvin in the later Reformed tradition, sharpened the penal and forensic dimensions, emphasizing Christ bearing God's wrath and the specific curse of the law in our stead. Importantly, one does not need to accept the full bundle of later Reformed distinctives, limited atonement, strict double imputation as the only mechanism, or even justification by faith alone, in its classic sola fide form, to affirm the basic PSA claim. That is false, because then you don't have PSA. If you don't have those things, there was no reason to develop PSA from a satisfaction model from Aquinas. What would be the purpose of developing PSA if it wasn't to defend specific Reformed distinctives? There would be no reason.
Yeah. No, there again, it's why this whole argument is just, it's nonsense. I'm convinced, like you said, they're all tribalist and it's all political. I'm 100% convinced that
we'll get into that in a second, because
yeah.
I mentioned it and people were very upset about that, or people at least had questions about it. Many Arminian Protestants, who of course reject limited atonement, and even some thinkers in other traditions who use substitutionary and penal language, have affirmed that Christ bore the penalty due to sin in our place without endorsing limited atonement, or treating forensic imputation as non-negotiable. They don't believe in PSA. They have a different model they hold to. They hold to other forms of satisfaction. For example, Lutherans don't hold the PSA. They hold to, and any Reformed scholar will tell you this, Dr. Jordan Cooper would tell you this as well. They hold to vicarious satisfaction. There's a distinction between vicarious satisfaction and PSA.
Either.
Exactly. Catholics do not. By the way, I just remembered that I want to do this. This is holy myrrh from Mount Athos.
Oh, that's awesome.
Guys, if you guys have never smelled myrrh, it is the most fragrant, pleasant smell you'll ever smell in your life. It's amazing. So in approaching the subject matter, there are core points of confusion, and I'll list them down below. Again, this sounds like he's just copy and pasting this from like academic sources at a contemporary college. Satisfaction versus penal substitution. Satisfaction theory includes penal elements, voluntary bearing of punishment or its equivalent, without collapsing into the latter forensic model. Okay, so that means that satisfaction is distinct from PSA. Not only this, but you have PSA models that also toe a line, as per the definition in the beginning, that do not commit one to further reformed entailments. Again, notice how he says you could have other PSA models, which is a presupposition. He hasn't demonstrated that PSA can be had without these things. Okay? And notice how is anyone getting confused about this? No one's confused about this. Christus Victor and vicarious suffering. Christus Victor models rightly emphasize victory over sin, death, and the powers, and they include genuine vicarious suffering. However, biblical texts that speak of Christ bearing sins, becoming a curse, and propitiation, or being made sin for us, naturally lead themselves to penal sanction dimension that many patristic and medieval writers acknowledge alongside the victory and healing motifs. They're not just victory and healing motifs. They are the center of how Orthodox understand these things. You'll never hear a priest talk about atonement theology without emphasizing healing. And anyone who's a Orthodox Christian in this chat right now, let me know right now. Has your priest ever discussed atonement in a penal fashion, or have they always emphasized that the church is a hospital and we've always used medicinal language? Almost always use medicinal language.
It's why I'm
This-
Orthodox.
Yes.
Not so I'm
Since-
just
Sincere hypocrite. PSA is just domestic abuse theology and makes father evil. The father can't beat sinners, so he must beat his own son. It's completely blasphemous.
agreed.
If you take it to its logical extreme, some people would say, I don't hold to that, and then you'll just be like, okay, but you like it naturally leads to this consequence.
Reductio ad absurdum.
Yeah.
We're taking your argument, we're reducing it to its fundamental
Logical.
Get mad.
Yeah. We should avoid reading modern retributist legal categories back into early writers, which is exactly what they're doing into the
That's
early
what they
church fathers.
do.
It's what they do constantly. At the same time, dismissing all language of punishment, debt, curse, and substitutionary satisfaction as merely satisfaction or therapeutic risks flattening the texts themselves. Or it's just how the texts are supposed to be read. Right? Saying, oh, it's flattening the text. You need to understand it's way more complicated and multidimensional. Or it's just how they're supposed to be read. See, guys, when people try and confuse these things, they try and like bog it down in definitional things and go, it's way more confusing than no, it's not that confusing. This is why we use medicinal language for these things. The result is a spectrum. See, some expressions of PSA are more satisfaction oriented and medicinal. Others are explicitly forensic. Okay. Tell us which ones are allowed and disallowed. Notice he's never done that, not once. He's never said that the ones that are explicitly forensic are wrong. He's just saying that it's a spectrum. You can kind of hold to many different views within that spectrum. Okay?
Yeah, sure.
Which ones are right and which ones are wrong? Notice he's playing fast and loose with the language. He's not being clear. And for someone who is touting their academic prowess, you would think
with
this would be much more clear.
With an associate's degree.
With an associate's degree.
Wow.
What unites them is the conviction that Christ stood in our place under the just consequences of sin. It wasn't just that Christ was punished on behalf. It wasn't. It was a tragedy. Christ was not rightly punished. Christ voluntarily took upon himself the sacrifice.
Was gay. Base take Octavian.
Preston Walker says, I'm reading St. Irenaeus Against Heresies, Book 3, and he even describes Christ as a physician. Exactly.
That was the perspective of the early church.
Precisely. They can use penal language, but it's never supposed to be this. You don't build an entire theology based off penal language. That's just not how that works.
Huge shout out to Father Ron. Father Ron was talking about it on one of his videos I was watching, and he said it was even the whenever they will cite saints, they're usually using ransom language, not specifically like legal language, like we think of it. Mm-hmm. If it says Jesus Christ died so that you may live, kind of thing, it's them saying it from like a rescue perspective. Like if you were held captive by death, which is what the Bible says, right? You're held captive by death. He gave his life to save you from death is the idea.
Yeah.
So to
continue finishing what he says here, this broader understanding allows Christians across traditions to affirm the heart of PSA without being locked into one systematic package. So basically, it's ecumenism. This is ecumenism. This broader understanding allows us all to get along and sing Kumbaya. Am I wrong? Is that how you guys would interpret that? I think so.
Again, this guy's just a...
He says it's rooted in Scripture, which is again you're just asserting your interpretation of Scripture. I don't care about your interpretation of Scripture, Sig, and has proven pastorally powerful for centuries. Okay, again, you know what's been proven pastorally powerful? Tons of heresies.
Yeah.
What does pastorally powerful even mean?
I don't understand how it is. It literally is the reason why most people are atheists. When Reddit atheists argue against Christians, it's Calvinists that give them ammo to say the dumbest crap you've ever heard.
Yeah, well, Calvinists were very successful in converting huge swaths of people, and lots of people felt very satisfied. I'm sure Father Stephen DeYoung would tell you that many people in his church, when he was a Dutch Reformed minister, would have told you that, oh, all these people were very, very satisfied with their walk in Christ. They felt they felt like it was very pastorally powerful for centuries. That doesn't mean that Dutch Reformed are right.
No.
Now, again, our guilt, and now he says here after that, is our guilt has been dealt with. Divine justice has been satisfied. We are welcome. What is, again, it presupposes, what does he mean by divine
justice has been satisfied?
What does that mean?
Because God has to punish someone. That is the core of what PSA is. They always lie about it, but he just put it in plain writing for us.
Yes.
It's right there.
Our guilt has been dealt with. What's our guilt? You got to be specific about what the guilt is. Notice how it's all this vague, loose language, guys.
No, the question that divides the confessions is how? No, that's not the question that divides all the confessions. That's not true at all.
We are welcomed home in Christ. The question that divides the confession is how? No. It's because we have a different Christ. We have a different understanding of what Christ did in his incarnation. Most of these people that hold the PSA don't hold to the harrowing of Hades, Sig. Or I'm sorry, he piety signaled on the timeline. He said anyone who uses Sig instead of his Christian name is revealing that they're not really a good Orthodox Christian. So I'm sorry, it's Jerome.
I don't care what he calls himself.
Yeah, whatever. But the point is Jerome.
Arius.
There are dozens of things that make us foundationally different than other traditions. It is not just this. The question that divides the confessions is how. No, it's not. It's deeper than that. Our understanding of Christ, our understanding of what Christ accomplished, our understanding of what the sacrifice even is, what we're participating at the table, what happens to us internally as a result. Our understanding of anthropology is different. All of these things are different.
Yeah, it's just, again, this is the craziest take I've ever read. I also kind of want to touch on, do they just ignore Matthew 18 entirely, or is that like by accident?
Apparently they just ignore it entirely. I can't give you any reason.
Does it say? Because it says right here. So the servant fell on his knees, imploring him, "Lord, have patience with me, and I will pay you everything." And out of pity for him, the Lord of that servant released him.
Let's just pull it up. Here, hold on. What was it? Matthew
18, 21 through 35, in the Revised Standard Version.
Matthew 18. You
said I had to flip through them. 18, 21 through 35.
Okay. So assuredly I say to you, whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. Again, I say to you that if two
18,
of you
21.
agree on earth concerning anything they are asked, it will be done for them by my Father in heaven. For where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, I am there in the midst of them. And then
21. Then Peter came to him and said, "Lord, yeah."
How often shall my brother sin against me and I forgive them? Up to 7 times? ? And then he goes on to 7, but 77 times 7.
No, it's specifically it should start like on Matthew 24. He says when he began the reckoning, one was brought to him that owed him 10,000 talents, and as he could not pay, his Lord ordered him to be sold, and his wife and children and all that he had and payment to be made. So the servant fell to his knees, imploring him, "Lord, have patience with me, and I will pay you everything." And out of pity for him, the Lord and the servant released him and forgave his debt. ... Where is the satisfaction of justice there?
Yeah.
He just forgave him because he asked him. They say you sound like a Muslim. I'm like, well, no, I don't, because I don't believe in predestination. My point being is that the parables are very, and this one thing I like about Father Ron a lot is he points this out, is the parables are very concrete. Jesus isn't just making this stuff up to humor you. He's trying to give you the best understanding possible in the shortest amount of time possible.
Yes. So here we go. Mr. Perry Robinson, who
destroyed them,
absolutely destroyed this response. So we're going to go ahead and give that a read for you guys. And actually, let me zoom it in a little bit so that it's easier to see. He responds, and this is what we call an academic response, guys. This is where you respond in detail with an explanation. You explain the position, and then you explain why they're wrong in their position, and then you break it down. This is a good response. There's no vagueness here. There's no ability to be confused, right? So, somebody said, I think he was referring to Sig when he said Jerome is a heretic. No, I'm not gonna go that far, but you know,
I will.
as much.
I called him
notice he-
Arius, so
So, contemporary academic theology is all over the place. So that's the first point. Notice that's what we said as well, and is not an orthodox discipline. All one has to do is look at any given major academic publisher catalog to see that this is true. It is still largely dominated by Protestants and somewhat Catholic members, and as some members are not professing Christians either. It is better to think of this field more akin to religious studies at this point. Therefore, the fact that current academics frame the matter in this way is not normative or really relevant to Orthodox theology. It only functions as a pragmatic constraint if Orthodox happen to be participating in a non-Orthodox theology degree program. Right away, he's explaining the problem with this, which is vital to understanding the rest of this. So he goes in, second, this framing has come along precisely because the Protestant hegemony in the United States and Europe has become undone to some extent. This has occurred in tandem with the fact that Reformation dogmatism has waned in the last 2 centuries. This is because historical work has made clear that Protestant claims of recovery of pre-Chalcedonian pristine Protestant theology church has largely gone to the wayside. In terms of the atonement, this means that there is a widespread recognition that the Reformation understanding of the atonement didn't exist in the early church, either in terms of formal or relatively clear teaching. The academics in the Protestant sphere have long since acknowledged that they don't find their atonement theology in the early church. They admit this. Oh, guys, don't worry. We'll go into the responses to Perry in a second. The problem with framing the matter as a matter of family substitutionary models is that it obfuscates the specific notion and function of substitution that is operative in the Reformed teaching in order to fit other models under the general descriptor. Second, this way of framing it tends to ignore or paper over the soteriological mechanisms and work of the other models. In the case of Christus Victor, this is because even in the contemporary works that brought this back into academic attention provided little to no explanation of the soteriological mechanism or inner logic of how the principal act is salvific. In short, this makes PSA a term, a matter of equivocation. Equivocating here just concedes the point. To see this designate PSA 1, the general concept, and PSA 2, the Reformation concept. PSA 1 removes all the distinctly Protestant concepts, which entails that PSA 2 is a later development and not necessary. This is what defenders of PSA 2 generally will not concede. Us. We're saying that PSA 2, the original Reformation concept, is the originator. That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. In fact, it becomes difficult to see why we should use the distinctly Protestant coined term PSA in the first place. Why not just atonement? Exactly. Stating that this builds upon early medieval satisfaction theories really does no work. Here's why. First, again, so explains that it doesn't work, says here is why, and then explains. Notice that's a distinctly different way in which he's engaging the academic field. This is somebody who is highly trained in academic response papers. This is a guy who has a lot of experience in essays. You can tell by the way he's breaking this down. Okay, that means that he knows his stuff. Long story short, right? These are the kinds of people that Perry is dealing with. By the way, the best Protestant academics and scholars are not discussing these things on the internet. They're writing books about it and writing essays and dissertations about it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
First, that is what PSA as a Reformation theological model already did, so there is no new recasting here. Second, this admits the point at issue, namely that PSA is not the apostolic deposit, but is a Reformation development. And I see no reason why Orthodox should be getting their theology from reformers. No kidding.
Light is insufferable, by the way. He attacked my military service because he was being a punk, and I told him
Who?
that. The guy
Who's
said
White?
the guy under Perry's comment. There's this guy named Light. He's insufferable. He is insufferable.
Oh, well, we'll go into it in a second. Third, why do we need PSA if other theological model does the soteriological heavy lifting? Why do I need forensic imputation from the Reformation and the changes in legal theory that came with it when the hypostatic union and incorporation through the sacraments work just fine with biblical material? Exactly. Why do we need it? Other than it causes confusion, why do we need it? It's a great question. As to the description you gave of satisfying God's righteousness, suffering the penalty, etc., each model caches these out differently. What does he mean by caches these out differently? He means the way in which they handle those things are different and often contradictory, right? For Anselm, it's an honor-based system. For PSA, it's a debt legal exchange system with forensic imputation, right? They cache them out differently. Governmental model, different. Moral exemplar, different. Vicarious satisfaction is different than satisfaction, right? All of these things cache it out differently. And see, that's the thing these guys don't understand. This is what we've tried to explain to them for a long time, but they don't care. Because really what they're doing is they're just trying to smuggle in the reformed understanding of PSA. Frankly, that's my opinion.
It's a fact. They already put it up there. They said it plain as day. To satisfy the Father's wrath. That is what PSA is. That is not an Orthodox position.
Yeah. So Octavian and Puffer, guys, I understand. If you guys have like clashing, it's fine. Take it to DMs and try and reconcile that way. But I do appreciate you guys taking it seriously. I do, but let's just do it that way, okay? I do appreciate both of you because you both have helped keep this chat clean over the time, and so I just want to express that. But yeah, let's not get bogged down in that kind of stuff. The chat is for everyone to chit chat about what we're discussing here, right? There is no theory neutral use of these terms. Exactly. There's no such thing as a term that doesn't have baggage in terms of history. Any history major would know this, right? Timothy would agree with it.
There's no way. Yeah.
In short, it is just a question begging and provides no point of agreement. And then he continues on. It is true that Aquinas modifies the Anselmian satisfaction model in terms of punishment, but it is decidedly not the function of punishment that PSA requires. This is in part why Aquinas is not expressing PSA. The reformers, not so much, sharpened the penal and forensic dimensions, but rather altered the former and introduced the latter. Aquinas wasn't working with forensic imputation here. This is one reason why Aquinas isn't a help to sola fide. While it is true that those outside of the Reformed tradition do not adhere to limited atonement and double imputation, it doesn't follow that a matter of consistency. It doesn't follow that as a matter of consistency they do so. So basically, he's saying, for those of you who get bogged down in the jargon, he's basically saying just because they use that language doesn't mean they're doing so consistently. They're not applying it consistently. That's what he's saying. The problem with the basic PSA claim is that this trades on equivocation. Once the meaning of terms and the function of concepts is expressed, this vanishes. Moreover, Protestant distinctives are still operative in the cases you mentioned, specifically forensic imputation. Without that as a mechanism, PSA as a model simply collapses, for there is no way to make Christ the just and appropriate recipient of the punishment without it on that model. Okay? Remember, this is all about saying Christ was the just recipient of God's divine wrath. Just. Not that it was Christ voluntarily doing so, but that Christ was taking upon it because there was no other means in which it could be satisfied. No other means. Christ had to do this by necessity in order for God to forgive us sinners. Keep that in mind, okay? Did the guy who called Jerome Sig a heretic get untimed out? Yeah, like
There's a
if someone
misunderstanding.
if there's a misunderstanding, yeah, just rectify it. To
Yes, yes.
point the other unnamed thinker who used substitutionary and penal language without affirming, endorsing limited atonement, or treating forensic imputation as a non-negotiable does no work here either. Here's why. Again, notice that this is just a classic lesson on how you write essays, guys. If you guys want, save this response, okay? We're about halfway through. Save this response, because this is exactly how you respond to people when you're trying to break down why they are in error in the way that they're thinking. The question of what work is the language doing for this person? What does it express in terms of soteriological function or conceptual content? If none, that it's just language. If it's a model specific, we are back to square one. And that they treat forensic imputation as a non-negotiable just tells us how they treat it. It is biographical and so fudges the question of conceptual work. If it's dispensable, then it's not biblical or apostolic, in which case the Orthodox need not subscribe to it. So even if we accept everything else above, right here, it shows that there's no need for us to accept it or subscribe to it if it's optional. So, to say the cross can provide a universal sufficient basis for the forgiveness that is applied through faith and union with Christ is something that is so vague that just about anyone could agree to it. I could agree with it without endorsing PSA or any Protestant distinctives. It's argumentatively worthless. He's calling basically Sig's entire argument worthless, guys. And the unity it is attempting to provide vanishes when we ask what those terms mean. Other views that include infusion, say among the Anglicans, historically held forensic imputation and infusion together along Reformation lines, namely that they are contiguous, or sometimes more rarely the forensic is the cause of the infusion, just so long as the declaration is taxonomic, or Christ is labeled or classed a sinner, right? So the point is with these labels, with double imputation, is that Christ is classed as a sinner. He's seen as a sinner by the Father. And we are seen as righteous. And it doesn't matter about what the internal disposition of each of those are, as long as they're classed as such and dealt with as such, it satisfies divine justice. That's their position. Make sense, guys?
I mean, does it make sense, or does it make stupid sense? Yes, it makes stupid sense, indeed.
Well, it makes stupid sense, but you get what I'm trying to say. Does what I say make sense? God, is what I'm trying to say. Not
joking.
grounded in the state of the agent, the Protestant innovation remains. If, on the other hand, one makes the declaration grounded in the agent, then it's no longer forensic. Consequently, this move of contiguity, blah, 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 blah. Someone say that word for me.
Which one? What contiguity? Contiguity.
Contiguity,
Ooh.
I think it is. Doesn't get us outside
It's
of
encrypted.
forensic.
I can't read it.
Yeah, exactly. Doesn't get us outside of forensic imputation and the Protestant framework. It is conceptual.
Ledger domain. Mm-hmm.
You think you are getting a theory neutral framework with respect to Protestantism, but you aren't. Exactly. And this is the important thing to remember. When we use these terms, no Protestant is going to say, oh, yeah, I totally understand that in an Orthodox way. No, it's not a neutral theory. They're going to have all their presuppositions built into it immediately. And so you simply saying, oh, but I mean it in the generic sense, well, then you're not doing any work for yourself. You're actually doing more work by having to re-explain how PSA isn't understood this way, the way you're understanding it, and historically it's all this. Or you could just say, no, the Orthodox understanding of the atonement, of Christ's economic atonement, is this. And you just don't even have to get bogged down in redefining definitions. So it does no work for you. It actually does harm to the people that we're trying to convert, because they think that they can somehow hold to these terms, and it leads to mass confusion.
Mm-hmm.
Literally nominal. Yes, Blake, you're absolutely correct. Literally nominal.
It'd be kind of like arguing St. John the Baptist was actually was Southern Baptist the whole time.
Yeah.
And it's like, guys, can you just stop saying that? They're like, no, I mean, there's a spectrum of Baptist, okay?
Yeah.
It's like, dude, just shut up, please.
As to your description of Christus Victor, you leave out how Christus Victor can and does utilize bearing sins and other features as if the theory is idle with respect to him. Here, Romans 8:3 comes to mind, where the scripture says that God condemned sin in the flesh of Christ. Notice the language here is not intrinsic or forensic, so imputation is not available. Here, condemnation in the context of the cross really doesn't work with strict substitution, vindictive justice, or forensic imputation. God is doing something to sin in the flesh of Christ, and yet Christ is sinless. More directly, Christus Victor engages these issues through the hypostatic union, which is the mechanism within Christus Victor for destroying the power of sin and taking death captive.
Yes.
This is why forensic imputation and PSA are more generally unnecessary. They become explanatory danglers, and much the same is true on PSA. What work does hypostatic union actually do in the cross for PSA?
Nothing.
Vague gestures about the value of the person suffering really doesn't do any work and are a holdover from Anselmian satisfaction theories. If the guilt is forensically applied to Christ so that his death is just, then the value of the suffering is likewise determined on ultimately volitional basis. It is for this reason that Sconatism comes out of the Reformation. Forensic imputation undercuts this point in satisfaction models. We just got 2 more paragraphs, guys. The language of stood in our place is once again usable without the notion of substitution that PSA is working with. Doing something on account of or for some other party or in association with all work here without PSA. So the supposed broader understanding is vague enough to give the appearance of unity when it actually doesn't, because once again, we ask what those terms mean, it gets model specific. As to the scriptures you cite, centuries of teachers east and west used them without PSA, and that is plausible consistency. Take St. Maximus on 2 Corinthians 5:12. His reading cuts across typical Reformed dichotomy and reduction of forensic substantial. His exegesis provides no basis for PSA reading. The fact that Protestants have found their views to be pastorally powerful is irrelevant. One, since they say the same thing about their distinctive heresies, such as sola fide, among other things. The question is the view of the apostolic deposit or not? On this point, your historical recognition that it is a later Protestant development concedes the fundamental point. So again, which is exactly what we pointed out, that Jerome, or Sig, gave away his entire argument from the very get-go. From the very point, he admits it's a later Reformed development.
Oh, and then he even says it's to satisfy God's wrath. He outright writes what is the Calvinist version of it, by the way, but the distinctly Calvinist interpretation.
So where did he...
Are you looking for light?
Yeah.
My battle with light was in a different thing, but it is back there. He was there.
Yeah, I got to find, because I have the other guy blocked, I think.
I can pull it up.
Yeah, you can send me the very end of the conversation so that I can pull it up. So what's your definition of PSA? Same as Calvin's and various other Reformed figures. Christ is classed as a sinner to receive the just punishment of sin, which that our sins are imputed to him and classify him as a sinner. Hence, Christ's death is just a penalty for him. So, where did he speak with that guy?
Pull it up now. They're currently crashing out because I told them communists aren't people. They're not people, by the way.
According to the Constitution of the United States, yes.
I would challenge that they were anathematized by the church also, and they're evil and killed 60 million. You cannot be Orthodox and a Catholic Orthodox and a communist. I was
Yeah.
being redundant. You cannot be. If you support communism, you inherently support the extermination of Christianity.
So right here is so this is the response they gave. By the way, notice Sig never responded to anything that Energetic said, despite it being almost a full. How long ago? How long ago was July 1st? Like 13 days ago?
Wait, did he not know? Who didn't know that Perry was Orthodox longer than the towers have been down?
Yeah. He's been Orthodox a very long time. So his response is go to his channel and talk about it. Why does he need to go to his channel? He just put a essay length response to the entire thing right there,
Who
explaining
does
all of
Light
it.
have as his PFP? Is that St. Joseph the Hesychast? That's gross.
I don't like
think
when
so.
people use saints as their profile pictures. It grosses me out.
I'm not a big fan. I used to have Saint Tsar Nicholas II, then I realized every time I speak and I call someone a retard.
Yeah, I mean, Saint Tsar Nicholas may agree with you, but that doesn't mean you should use his voice.
My profile picture is a Warhammer model because
yeah,
that's
exactly.
what I'm good at.
I'm trying to find the post here because Light was crashing out and he's still mad at me because I told him that he's a turd, and I said I view them the same as Aryans or Nestorians because they do the same thing.
Is that the one that you sent me in the private chat?
That was actually the one where Sig confesses that he agrees with Miko on everything, and although we know he may be a furry, we don't know that he actually touched himself to the pictures. And I'm
Guys,
like, bro,
I'm looking into your eyes. Does anyone believe that somebody who shares NFSW or softcore pornographic images of furries isn't actually doing something naughty with those things in their private time? Give me a break.
I also want to point this out too.
I'm gonna side eye you guys right there. I'm gonna side eye you.
My big thing with the Latinizers too is I have a parasocial relationship with people like Father Ron, Father Stephen DeYoung, and they're clergy, right? I have reverence for clergy, okay? If purely by how they treat Father Stephen DeYoung and Father Ron and Father Dr. Stephen DeYoung, and Father Deacon Ananias, right? If I just based how I treat them on that alone, I would be very angry with them because a priest has to be nice to them somewhat, and I don't. Because to me, it's no different than Arius or no different than Nestorius or anyone else. They're liars. They do nothing but lie.
So
repeatedly.
Notice, I have to light. This is because it's relevant to what you're going to bring up here, but notice this is what he does. So he says, I've been Orthodox for 3 decades now. I have nearly 4 decades of reading and theology under my belt, which includes 80 volumes of the Fathers cover to cover, and I've been doing apologetics longer than most of these other people combined. Additionally, I've tasked with directing the catechist program at my parish where I serve. Nothing that is offered so far amounts to anything more than confusing satisfaction with PSA or other Protestant academic sources to defend Protestant distinctives. That is all pretty par for the course errors on this issue, even among Protestant academics. And then this is Light's response, guys. Instead of responding meaningfully to the substance of what we just covered here on this channel, what do the Latinizers do? They say, with all due respect, even if all of that doesn't make you the ultimate standard by which we should abide, or by nor the voice that we should listen to on these matters. If you're so confident in all your work and knowledge on the atonement and patristic reading, then it's even more reason for you to go on his channel. Why is he going to go onto the channel of a guy that's been baptized less than 2 years?
Yeah.
Sig has not been baptized. Sig has only been baptized like less than 2 years, guys. 2 years maybe at this point.
What is there to debate? He disagrees with his priest. He disagrees with his bishop. Debate who? Tell him to repent and submit to his priest and bishop is what I'll tell him.
Thank you for what you have said about Stephen against those people. They called him a antichrist the other day. Yeah, they call anybody who disagrees with their very, very niche view antichrist. I did not state that I am a standard or ultimate standard. You are perfectly free to ignore everything I write or say. I'm quite confident, which is why I wrote what I did. To my knowledge, Jerome's remarks in reference to me was that he was even more well-read on the academic literature at this point, which he's not. He's got an associate's degree, okay? That is the possible because I don't know what he has or hasn't read, nor does he know this for me either. That said, so far my remarks remain untouched. Sig hasn't responded to them. And citing a single or Protestant source on the state of PSA in academic discussion really doesn't support those remarks either. This is what I tried to explain to Sig in our conversation on X Spaces the other day. I tried to explain this to him, and he proceeded to just not listen at all, instead go on long diatribes trying to explain to me about the Orthodox position on these things, rather than listen and have a back and forth.
They don't reconcile PSA and theosis. They just ignore it and literally argue the Calvinist view of how you
Yes.
go to heaven.
He said, my time is limited. I don't have the time to be going and jumping on streams every time somebody wants to blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, Perry works for a diocese.
Yes.
Again, like, even if I would give him grace, but here's the thing. When your priest tells you stop, when your bishop tells you stop, when Father Stephen DeYoung tells you to stop, when Father Deacon Ananias tells you to stop, Father Ron has told them to stop, and all they do is disrespect priests and call them modernist heretics, by the way.
Mhm.
Modernist heretics, which is ironic considering the fact that they're the ones spewing modern nonsense.
Listen,
I don't have to endure it. and we
these
don't have to
guys,
give them the benefit
these
of the doubt.
guys, Miko, Sig, and all these guys, they follow a bunch of uniates and papists who all are supporting their, and also some Anglicans and Reformed people who all are pushing this PSA nonsense. And all of those guys I have seen say massively disrespectful things to clergy. I'm sorry, I don't care which clergy it is. If you are disrespecting
speak
an
to you.
Orthodox clergy, I won't speak to you.
No.
I will block you on the timeline forever. And yet all of these, like, no offense to Sig, it's like, he's like, yeah, but I don't micromanage the people that are in my server. I don't micromanage Miko. It's like, you made him a mod.
He says openly, though, he agrees with everything Miko says.
Yeah, exactly. We'll go into that in a second. But notice, again, more obfuscation and no replies to anything I said. You didn't say anything. All
Yeah, I
he
had to
said is
say it.
go on the stream. Go on the stream with him. If you claim I obfuscated, then you bear the burden of proof to prove it. The same goes for the claim that I failed to engage in what you wrote. I address your remarks point by point. Remarking about what takes place in these spaces all the time simply reports what you think takes place, and second, it's false, since I do not do what you claim. From what I've seen, oh, dude, W, I'm saving this. W, oh my gosh.
I just want to point out, too, guys.
Wait, guys, we have to.
What
we
did he
gotta pause
write?
here.
What did he write?
We gotta pause. It's a W. It's a massive W for me. From what I've seen, I agree with Nikolai, me, on most things, but not always. I'll take that. I'll take that.
Yeah.
Massive W.
Wait, he agrees with us on both things. Yay.
So he says, but I also don't see a need to fight over everything either. So here your tarring does no work. He basically Perry is just saying, I'm above it. Nikolai is still a young guy who's willing to, like, clash with you guys and take the punches and hits when, you know what I mean? I'm much more aggressive than Perry is. That's what Perry's saying. Anyways, go ahead, Rafa. What were you saying?
Oh, I'm like, all this on the eve of Saint Nicodemus the Hagiorite's feast.
Oh my
Yes.
Who
gosh.
fought the
There's wars
Latinizers
fought.
of his days.
That's true.
He fought the Latinizers of his day.
W. Nikolai, yes, guys. Listen,
Nikolai, W.
guys, I just want to say, guys, I am, I don't like to toot my own horn often, but everything that I'm saying on my stream, everything that I say on my stream are just me restating things that I learned in my catechism, that I've spoken with my clergy about, that I've spoken to other clergy about, not just my clergy, or I've spoken directly with my bishop about. When they bring up the Russian church believes this, you know who I go to? My Russian Orthodox bishop. And I go, hey, this is what they're saying. And I show them the screenshots. And I say, do we believe this as Orthodox? And you know what he says? No.
No. Whoever said that is an idiot. Make him stop.
And Nikolai says slurs too, rarely.
Based.
Perry is much more Irenic than I am.
It wouldn't shock me if the Latinizers do believe the Filioque.
Well, I don't think Perry has ever come to me and said that he disagrees with anything I say, but I think he's being safe by just saying I don't always agree with him. It's like, okay. And actually, Perry might disagree with me on my position that all infants are God grants mercy to all infants and brings them into paradise immediately. He might think that there is a waiting period before the final judgment, in which case God will have mercy on them. I'm sure Perry holds that view. And I've talked to Perry about these in private chats. I'm not going to show DMs because that's inappropriate. But the point is, I've talked to Perry about these things. And he is very clear when he agrees with me or disagrees or thinks I'm going too far in some area or thinks that I'm being fine in some area. And Perry's also said that he's listened to my engagements with the Latinizers and has never found anything super untoward in what I've said. Of course, I slip up sometimes, guys. I do hours and hours long stream. There might be times I've slipped up. But the point is I don't have clergy banging down my door saying that I'm doing something majorly wrong here. And I have plenty of clergy accountability in my life. Plenty. Not just my own clergy, but also clergy that I happen to know online. How many times do you think Father Stephen, when I've been on channel with Father Stephen for multiple hours, how many times does he come out and he says, hey, Nikolai, I saw that you said this one time. That's kind of wrong, bro.
And he would tell you, by the way.
And he would tell you. How many times has Father Ron? I just did a stream with Father Ron for a VTubing audience where we explained the basics of Orthodoxy. You know how many times Father Ron told me I was getting things wrong? And I covered PSA, and I covered atonement theory, and I covered our views on those things along with Father Ron. Guess how many times he told me I was wrong? 0. So I'm very confident in my ability to re-explain the faith. And so when these guys are like, look at Nikolai, there's a 15-second clip where he said something I could maybe remove out of context and say something is bad, I don't take that very seriously. You know? Oh, no one takes Nikolai seriously. He's completely irrelevant, and he's a joke, and no one takes him seriously. Maybe in your circle, right? So thank you, Octavian, for the 2. You're always great for that. Hit the like and smash the... Hit the like and smash the target?
I think it's subscribe button.
Subscribe button. Like that's probably the subscribe button.
The priest was saying last week.
At church, the priest was saying that if you do not take communion for a year, you're basically out of the church. Well, yeah, you're unnormalized. You're not. You have to go back to confession.
Yeah, you have to receive confession and communion to be quote unquote
renormalized
back in the church.
Yeah. That means like there's been times where I was actually unable to go to liturgy for extended periods of time because of where I was living at the time in Florida. I was only able to go over a 6-month period. I was only able to go like once a month. And when I went back to my clergy, I said, hey, I was only able to go to like liturgy like once a month maybe during the 6-month period. And he told me, he's like, okay, let's get over there. And we did a long confession. So
I'm actually going to a Russian parish on Saturday.
Oh, it's the goal symbol. Yeah. Oh, thank you guys. Yeah. No, I don't like the fact that because the goals, technically I set the goal for like 10,000 won, which is $10 basically. I set it for 10,000 won to trigger, but the thing is that Macaulay Roofing gave 100, so I think that should count towards like the 10 parts of the goal, right? Like that's my view at least. Yeah. But I understand they're trying to incentivize more people to like give, which I do appreciate, guys. Thank you very much for everyone who's gave this. It is much appreciated. I am sweating like a hog right now. It is hot.
Yeah. So if somebody is absent for a year, Psalm 22:16, a lot of times priests might, if it's really, really bad, priests might make them do a public confession of faith. If it's a really, really bad situation.
Yeah, and that we're talking like the reason you weren't going to church was because of like some major sinful things going on in your life, things like that.
Yeah.
Now, of course, it's all up to the bishop and up to the priest to kind of determine these things.
If you apostatize to a different faith, there's a whole thing for that. You have to be rechrismated.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to
Nikolai has no idea how to grift. Not gonna lie. Hey guys, I tried this time. I was trying to sell my services in front of all of you.
that was advertising, Nikolai. That's not grift.
Six in one hand, half a dozen in
Why
the
is
other.
the Muzzy gay? I think there was something in here that was actually good. Oh yeah, Cletus Delius. I searched up who Miko was. It looks like he's a furry. He's a furry and likely a not safe for work artist. Cletus Delius. I have it on pretty good authority. He's a communist, and I know because when I said communists don't count as people, he got angry and started saying communists are just like everyone else. They only killed 60 million Russian Orthodox Christians, by the way. Exterminated them.
And more in the outer reaches.
Yeah.
That we don't even know about. So it's actually
that's the low number.
That's the low number.
So, anyways, look at like, he has a critique of Cleave to Antiquity. He doesn't think that Ben should be doing any content while he's a catechumen. That's Perry's opinion. Obviously, Ben is doing this with the guidance of his priest, right, and the guidance of his spiritual father and things like that. So, Perry has every right to his opinion on this. I understand his position on this. I just want to point that out.
But he's not doing debates.
Well, kind of. He's kind of half doing debates now, to be fair. Like, he will make arguments.
Anytime he actually does a debate, though, he has a priest there. Every time.
Yeah, and I would agree with that, which is part of the reason why
I don't really agree with that characterization there, because he works very hard, I would say, in honoring his spiritual fathers.
So, look at 1 essay length response, 2 essay length, 3, 4, 5 essay length responses, and look at
Perry's wasting his time.
He is.
I had the same argument with Light. I told him I literally posted the catechism for their diocese, and he didn't read it.
Yeah, nothing burger TLDR. This is why people don't respond back. Go on a live. So basically, what they want to do is they want to try and trap. They want to trap Perry. Well, they want the clout, but they want to try and trap Perry in gotchas, which is what they try and do with me too. By the way, they want to get you stuck up in the mud. And also,
based on heresy.
I do think that it might be worthwhile for Perry to do a live where he just allows these guys to call in, or does a space, like an X space. But
I 100% agree with you, Cuthbert. Yeah,
100%.
Father Mikhail from Living Orthodox has a good quote. Why are you trying to make the heaven that people ran to the hell that they were running away from?
Yeah.
I don't ever want to go back to being, like I said, like, if it's such a crazy, I think Jonathan Pajot said the same thing, right? Where he said, like, I don't understand why you would think I would want your version when mine is so much more beautiful.
Yeah. He said that about, like, dude, that must have pissed Gavin Ortlund off so badly.
Oh, he was furious because it is more beautiful, and I don't care. Like I said, like, it's someone brought up the Arianism.
Hey guys, hold on. We gotta say a pause and give all of our salutes to Counterdocs, one of our buddies here. God bless you, brother.
But you can't.
What did I do again?
I'll do it with my M16.
Okay, I view this as Perry wasting his time just because it's a Twitter argument. Like, I it's a big waste of time.
I know we know you don't like Twitter, but the reality is that Twitter is where the discussions are being had and where a lot of the movement's being had. Like for example, Jay Dyer's interview with Tucker Carlson would get a fraction of the movement and views that it does if it wasn't for Twitter, right? Yeah. So Twitter is in that way.
Guys, on that subject, keep Father Mikhail from Living Orthodox in your prayers. He's having some rough go of it, guys. So please pray for him. Yes.
I also want to point out too is that someone brought up the with X. Anything else? It's the real world, guys. You have to go where the fighting is. That would be like Paul saying, "Sorry, I don't want to go debate the pagans because I think that public spaces are cringe."
It's not for everyone. So not everyone should be on the internet. There are some people that you should just get off the internet because, so No Connected, which is one of these guys that is always circling around, one of these anonymous goobers that's always circling around in our circles trying to convince Orthodox that we believe in PSA. And Perry doesn't realize that and says, "Oh, that's the one they've been using for a while now." That's an there's our brother Tactical.
He lost a debate to Jay Dyer and got buck broken. Face takes him. Wow, he's so smart. They got buck broken. That's all it is, dude. These Latinizers literally admit they got buck broken by Jay Dyer, and they haven't recovered.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the whole story. If you they told Nikolai that.
Did they try to do Jay Dyer? Did
Yes,
they
No.
that's what brought them together. Remember?
Well, yeah, but no. What we're responding to is that Sig decided to have an entire long diatribe trying to explain that PSA is a spectrum and not a specific belief. Yeah, that was my look too. And Perry Robinson released a essay-long response addressing every single one of his points and just completely tore it apart. I mean, anyone in the chat can agree it was complete evisceration of Perry's on Sig's part, right? And no one responded really meaningfully. So we're going over to some of these responses now, and it's just like, he says, not even 3 months ago, every Orthobro loon on here was denying PSA altogether. Now they have to change their tune because
Who's
ECF, who's ECF?
Early church fathers.
Oh, early church fathers clearly
Just type
taught
it out.
PSA, and the Orthodoxy has to at least somewhat resemble the early church. And it goes to without saying that I don't think the early church fathers taught PSA any more than they taught sola fide. And then this guy just says, the very first church father, Clement of Rome, taught that we are justified by faith alone, not by works.
Wow,
so
interesting.
unserious. Clement of
Interesting.
Rome.
Does it seem like they're working with Protestants and Uniates?
Well, we know that the
Schismatics?
likes of Ibarra are involved, and then Ibarra's been writing books about it, specifically allying with Protestant scumbags against Orthodoxy.
Yeah,
Exactly.
they're ecumenists. Of course, they're going to align with other ecumenists. Ooh.
Well,
No,
then that's my
I-
point, though.
Yeah, I think in the case of Eric Ibarra, he still hasn't gone over the
So
damage control phase.
this was
It
this was one of the responses.
Buck
I
broken.
had to
Buck
bring up
broken.
this response, guys, because this is hilarious. Okay, so this guy tries to quote mine, which is exactly why you don't quote mine, guys. This is why you don't quote mine. It doesn't matter if you're right or not. I don't quote mine. Why I could. What want to know why? Because this is exactly what's going to happen to you. Watch what happens. He brings up, we are all under sin and punishment. He himself, through suffering punishment, did away with both the sin and the punishment, and he was punished on the cross. St. John Chrysostom, homilies on Colossians. And then Energetic says, Pelagius also speaks this way, and he certainly didn't express PSA either. He also speaks of being justified by faith alone and did not express or believe in sola fide. And then you read Pelagius' commentary on Romans 10:3. Because they did not know that God justifies by faith alone, and because they thought that they were righteous by works of the law they did not keep, they refused to submit themselves for the forgiveness of sins to prevent the appearance of them having been sinners, as is written. But the Pharisees, rejecting the purpose of God for themselves, refused to be baptized with John's baptism.
Okay.
So
Okay. You want to know
Nico's
something?
100%
You want to know
right.
something funny? That's the Pelagius commentary on Romans that they ascribe to
Jerome, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is hilarious because Perry is pointing out that Pelagius uses the same wording that you're claiming is sola fide, justification by
It's pride.
faith alone, PSA, and all
Pride,
these other
Nico.
things. Right?
It's pride, Nico. That's all they are doing. They can't submit to their priest. They can't submit to Father Stephen DeYoung, who is a freaking doctor and knows more about it than they do. And yet they can't go, well, maybe Father Stephen DeYoung is telling me I'm wrong.
Maybe I should reconsider.
And here's the thing. I'm not telling you that your priest and every priest is always right about everything, but how hard is it to go, hey, wait a minute. My priest told me I was wrong. I'm going to reevaluate my thought a little bit. I'm going to take a little time to research this. And you should still be respectful and deferent to your priest.
Actually, Pelagius Arius invented contemporary Christian music, just so everybody knows.
Okay,
I thought
guys,
that was
so
St. John the Southern Baptist who did that.
This is the two videos that Cleave to Antiquity posted
I wrote
recently.
Catterdox.
This is the two videos that were recently released by Cleave to Antiquity, showing that Jerome is defending these guys and their views. So Sig admitting he taught Miko Latinizer theology. So Sig is the one that taught Miko his theology. So the argument that Sig doesn't agree with Miko on his Latinizing, his inherited guilt, and all of these other doctrines that Miko pushes, it seems kind of incredulous to suggest that Sig wouldn't, by extension, probably believe these things, or he's such a bad teacher that Miko took all the wrong lessons, right? So either way, you got a guy who's been baptized less than 2 years. Sig has not been baptized more than 2 years. Okay, well, it might be hitting 2 years though. I could be wrong on that, but his chrism is barely wet behind his ears, guys. That's really the principle here. And he's going around teaching people? That's insane. That's like me having been a catechumen for 3 years, and then I got baptized, and after a year, going around and teaching people how to be Orthodox and what Orthodoxy actually teaches. That's insane. That's insane behavior. You don't do that. And it creates factionalism in the church, which is a heresy. You don't create factions in the church. So anyways, let's listen to this.
Oh, thanks. I've seen all these arguments from Miko against others and the other way around on PSA. I didn't follow all of it closely, but would you say Miko agrees with you on PSA, or is he close to a Protestant understanding? Miko agrees with me specifically on PSA. So if you look at his content,
if you look at his content, I think Christ satisfied the Father's wrath against humanity. That is his punishment that was due to sinners in order to avert from us, sure. And then he says, well, I have, but even if I were not so, as I explained, justification is linked to atonement, but they aren't the same thing. Also, no, we don't disagree with the Protestants. That's what Miko is saying. We don't disagree with the Protestants when they say that Christ's life and passion satisfied the divine justice and averted the wrath from humanity, allowing for the free yet just forgiveness of sins to occur. Meaning we agree. I can't see that whole thing. Meaning we agree on penal substitution. We don't agree on penal substitution because, again, we can't put necessity on God. The Council of Lacernace, you cannot put necessity on God. You can't make it that God cannot forgive unless this happens. Otherwise, you've put your necessity on God. God is no longer impassible.
Cleve submits to his priest. There is no comparison between him and Sig. Cleve is very careful and works with the spiritual father.
Notice
on
that
what he's allowed to post.
Yes, he does news. And then he has priests on to do interviews with. You notice, like, the first, 8 months of his channel after he announced becoming Orthodox, the first 8 months was him literally just every single stream having clergy invited on to do talks and to break down things and answer questions. That's all he did for, the first 8 months. It's only recently that he started to maybe dip his toes into making some more arguments and things like that. But even then, it's very, very surface level. So that... I will defend Cleve on that. But anyways, let's continue.
Will post things that basically just agree with me. I'm just a bit more good-natured when it comes to,
I'm just nicer when I talk about it. Yep.
I'm just nicer when I talk about it. So, again, Sig agrees with Miko.
And everything he said.
And by the way, Miko is one of these people that calls Father Stephen DeYoung a modernist heretic.
Yes.
And that he's gospelless.
Judaizing and should be defrocked.
Yeah.
And all sorts of stuff, yeah.
He has said those things publicly. He has said that Craig Truglia, who I disagree with Craig on some things, but Craig Truglia, he has said, is a if you hold to the view that Craig Truglia holds to with his video on economic atonement, which everyone that I've spoken to says it's very good, every clergy I've spoken to said it's very good, and it's basically a good synthesis of the Orthodox position. Miko has told me on my stream that if you hold to that view, you're a damnable heretic, and that you are heading towards hellfire if that is the case.
Yes.
That is what Miko has said on my stream about Craig Truglia, Father Stephen DeYoung, and all these others. Father Peter Hears.
Oh yeah, I brought Father Peter Hears. He's also disrespected.
It's likely Miko's priest does not know what's going on.
It's hard to believe that. Again, these are not people. These are not serious people.
No. Disgusting. Exactly.
Yeah, respect your
and yet
priest,
you have Sig right here admitting Okay, so it's like, let's just say, well, I wasn't aware that Miko was saying that. What do you mean? He's a mod in your channel and he speaks with you regularly. How could you not be aware?
Well, he just lies, and this is the point I made. I said this is just like dealing with Nestorius, where every time they call him out, he'd say what? I didn't really say that. You know, I actually said this, and he'd qualify it, and he'd argue it back and forth with them until finally they pulled him into a council and said, we don't need to listen to what you have to say because I have your writings. You're a liar. And that's where I'm at with these kind of people. I already have I have your writings. Why do I need to listen to what you have to say? You need to repent. Go to your bishop and repent. That's what you need to do. Go to your priest and repent.
Sig is cringe as good as debunking Muslims, though. Everybody's good at debunking Muslims. Guys, I hate to break it to you. Counterdocs can probably chime in on this as well. It is not difficult to dunk on Muslims on TikTok. Okay? Anybody can farm clips
what do you mean?
Of you dunking.
1 plus 1 plus 1 equal 1. 1 plus 1 plus 1 equal 1. 1 plus 1 plus 1 equal 1.
So FDA was over last night here. We had a barbecue. We just dunk on Muslims right here. There's Muslims living here. We just dunk on Muslims with catechumens.
They're dumb.
Well, Counterdocs, am I wrong though? How easy it is to dunk on Muslims? It's like
Muslims and Mormons. It's just like it's not even a dunk. Like you can just have them dunk themselves. Like you can just ask them basic
I shouldn't say what I want to say about them.
And then they're just retarded.
Let's just say it's easy to fight them too. Muslims aren't very intelligent.
So, anyways, he goes on and does that,
demonstrating what the Orthodox Church believes on it.
So he says, I'm demonstrating what the Orthodox Church believes on it. Dude, you've been baptized for less than 2 years. You don't get to say what the Orthodox Church believes on anything. I don't. I've been baptized. I've been in the church now. I'm getting close to, I think, my 7-year mark. Maybe almost. When was I baptized? Hold on. Yeah, I'm getting close to my 7-year mark. And 3 years as a catechumen. So if you include my catechism, 9 years almost.
I got a simple question. Make it easier. Father Peter Hears calls you on your phone tomorrow and says, hey, Nikolai, you said this on your stream. You really shouldn't say that because that's not true.
I'd take that stream down. I'd take that stream down immediately and post a video saying that I was corrected by Father Peter Hears. Even if I think Father Peter Hears is wrong. Even if I thought that, I would still submit to him because he has way more theological chops than I will ever have.
Also, the Romanians are based, so.
So what am I doing after that?
Any priest who's Romanian.
If I really disagree with that priest, you know what I do? I go to my priest or I write my bishop.
Yeah.
Right? And I say, hey, this is happening. I don't know if I did anything wrong. Can you please give me, some advice or whatever? These people, that's part of being Orthodox. I'm sorry. I can ask everyone in this chat. I guarantee you every single one of us would say the same thing. Father Stephen DeYoung told me I was an idiot and I should stop speaking. Dude, Nico, I don't want to hear crap. We both look like we're 15. We're the same age.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it because that may as well be making fun of me, okay? It's too late. We're never going to help it. We're stuck.
It's too late. I got my dad's genes.
Look at our hair though.
I'm always gonna look like 10 or 15 years younger than I actually am, always. So,
we actually had an inquirer at my parish tonight.
Nice.
So that was nice. He asked about the bishop's chair, and I get to tell him about how the bishop sits in the throne that Christ has given him.
Nice.
In authority.
But here's Sig defending Miko's furry fixation, claiming it's not sinful. This is what Timothy sent me.
Miko, there is no evidence that suggests that Miko has ever masturbated to this kind of stuff.
Stop! Go back! Let's read his profile. When she tilts her head and wags her tail.
This is disgusting, dude.
Counterdocs came in on the worst time to come in because
Counterdocs is going to get a call from his priest.
And it's funny, I'm painting an icon right now, and you guys are doing it.
Nice.
I'm disgusted.
I want you to ask that icon how he'd feel about this.
Guys, I want you guys to be please don't. I want you guys to be clear. Look what pops up because this is only a fraction of some of the things we found on his channel where he was liking and retweeting stuff on his alt account. Okay, that were absolutely disturbing things. Okay,
And he does not deny it. To be very
And he
clear,
doesn't deny
he
it.
doesn't deny it. He doesn't deny the communist allegations I made to him because I have reports that he was a tanky for many years.
Yeah. So when she tilts her head and wags her tail, okay, let's continue.
This kind of stuff. The question therefore remains: is posting pictures of sort of
That's from Lucasta going to war, you scumbag. That's
reposted, pinned.
That is the one on the left is actually a love poem.
At the
Sig defending having a furry Latinizer as his top mod in Discord.
Derogatory action. At the most.
Guys,
just watch it again without pausing, just one more time because it's very funny.
Yes, no, we'll watch it without.
Mirko, there is no evidence that suggests that Mirko has ever masturbated to this kind of stuff. The question therefore remains: is posting pictures of sort of like humanoid animals a sin? It's not a sin. At the most, derogatory action. At the most.
So my
guys,
point
let me
is,
use this super. Notice, like at the very end, he uses it's at the most. It's a subrogatory action. Notice how they have to use very fancy language to say it's not appropriate, and I wouldn't do it, but it's not necessarily sinful. Notice how they're trying to break down sin into categories. Sin is not just about actions. It's not this legalistic action. It is the disposition of the heart towards an action. For example, a monastic can look at a monastic could accidentally stumble onto a nude beach and not once feel lust.
Thank you, Silver Ogre.
In fact, there's a story of a monastic who was looking at a naked woman, and he was just looking at her. And the other monastics were like, "What are you doing? How could you be possibly looking at her?" And he's like, "I'm admiring God's beauty, the beauty of his creation." And he didn't have a single bit of lust in that act of appreciating the beauty of a woman. There is nothing wrong with appreciating that. There is something wrong with you taking away the image of person and mixing it with something that is not made in the image of God, a humanoid, and making this into a fetishized thing. Okay.
Well, I think
there's difference between fantasy and fetishizing it. You don't fetishize these things.
Again,
Nico does. Nico does.
He does.
This guy can correct Father Stephen DeYoung. Again, no deference for clergy. For a moment, him being a furry is completely innocuous, and it was lustful. Why is he persisting and being furry? And this is something I want to point out here is have some shame. Right? I'll be honest with you. Like, we all have our own sins, and I don't want to confess them on this channel live. Okay? I don't want to. But believe you me, if someone was like, "Tim, I have the documents right here. Here's the pictures," I'd be like, "Whoa, okay, leave me alone, please. I'm sorry." I wouldn't want to defend it. I wouldn't want to defend it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, no. Here's an even more like a really powerful response. If somebody were to come to me and say that, "Oh, this is scandalizing people, and I don't want my sins laid bare," and things like that, yeah, because we have shame.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I told Miko, I said, "I know for a fact you're tanky," and he said, "Wow, I can't believe you would throw my communist past and my furry stuff in my face like that. That's not very Christian of you." And I said, "I don't consider communists or furries people for that matter." I said, I don't have any. I have no sympathy for you. I legitimately think. Again, you want to talk about what they did to the Romanians, where they forced priests and monks to eat feces and do the Eucharist with feces and pee, and the terrible things the communists did there. And you're going to sit there and pretend you're an Orthodox Christian while claiming to be Again, I don't know who in the chat doesn't know about this, but if you go to an Orthodox church about 90% of the time and tell them you're communist, they'll usually kick you out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to a Serbian parish one time, and a stupid person I was staying next to claimed Nikola Tesla was Joseph Broz Tito, and the old priest began to vibrate. I thought he was going to punch him. I really did.
Priests can't strike people.
Serbian priests actually would argue against that because I've heard many of them say it's as long as you're defending yourself, it's okay to shoot people. I knew ones who fought.
Elder Cosmos of Itola did it.
Yeah, there's always exceptions. It's a general
Alexander
disposition.
Peresvet stabbed a Mongolian with a lance.
That is true. Miko said, this is what he says, as someone who may,
They forced
however
him to, Miko.
reluctantly, come to be seen as the federal head in the defense of orthodoxy against modern distortions in the English-speaking world, and who, for better or worse, dude, this is mass pre-lest. Mass pre-lest.
This is post-lest.
Who, for better or worse, is already associated with certain theological positions on this app. It is imperative that I keep the proper set of priorities.
No, so
later retweet.
So you know how Father Stephen DeYoung says, you know, it's like, yeah, there's people who are influenced by demons, and then there are people who are just bad. This is post-lest. There's pre-lest and post-lest.
No, like the Romanian prison is
Somebody posted their eyes getting gouged out.
And I just want to say, like, the Romanian prisons created saints. Yeah, and here's the thing, guys. Like, we as Orthodox Christians, we have a long memory, or we should, right? Don't forget, do you remember what happened when the Pope went to Greece? Does anyone remember where the Greek monk was throwing rocks at him? Screaming that you are a heretic! And he got tackled by like 30 police officers. Like, you needed 30 cops to arrest this old man. And it's because he was a heretic. You know why? Because he was still mad about the sacking of Constantinople, okay? That's what we do.
Can I make a point? Can I make a point? I don't think people are mad enough about the sacking of Antioch and Jerusalem in the First Crusade.
Yeah, I'm not happy about those either. They're often forgotten, yes.
Antioch was not as bad. Jerusalem was, because remember, the Muslims killed all the Christians inside when they sieged it.
No. So, do you want to know what the Catholics did when they sieged it?
They hanged. Hold on. The Muslims, before the Catholics even got there, had hanged all the Christians outside the walls and killed them.
Then the
because
Catholics
in
came
Antioch,
in and finished the job.
Because the Antiochians revolted and turned the city over to the Crusaders. So it wasn't as bad. But whenever they went to Jerusalem, the Muslims killed all the Christians. There was very few Christians even left.
Not to get bogged down in the minutia of history in this stream, but what was the where was the one that you said you got into a debate with? There it is. Was this it?
Yes.
You said they're not human. Not against furries. Furries aren't people, and neither are communists to be tanky furries somewhere else. Oh, so orthobro moral teaching only calls for dehumanization of people to do something I don't like? This is brand new one. When have I ever even hinted that I subscribe to communism? Being a furry is disgusting, and your continued defense of it is still gross. It is grosser still. Show me the furries in the 4th century modernists.
For the first 4 centuries modernists.
Oh yeah, is a Christian moral teaching to deem people who commit moral failings not human? You actually become less human naturally. Yes, the more you deviate from God's purpose in your life.
Aren't people?
Yeah.
He erased some of it, but it's like,
yeah.
Like I said, they're anathematized by the church, just so everyone knows.
Communism is formally anathematized. Yes.
Dressing as a furry is dehumanizing. Our Nico's the best Nico. He's better than Miko. He's better. He's smarter.
So, anyways, those are just a few of the things, and we see here, just some people. Braxton McCoy, author of The Glass Factory, says, some interesting discussion here. Been listening for an hour. A lot to think about. Hopefully a lot to think about orthodoxy.
Well, Bingo Hicks, I was made a reader in Rokor. So
I think that was the L reader was because of the of something else, I think.
Oh.
Someone says, sincere, I'm not gonna lie, if you fetishize animals in any way, you are subhuman. There's no way you don't stain your own humanity and image by doing so. Yeah, there's some truth.
Yeah, it's a form of iconoclasm.
Yeah, because you're
granting something to an animal that belongs rightly to humans and
and God
in such a way. Actually, it belongs rightly to God, and humans have
partakers in it.
Are partakers of it.
Yeah.
But it stains that in such a way that I feel it's a type of iconoclasm.
In my mature years, I'm aware of what I don't know. Honestly, I can't recall much that I once knew. In my sinful envy, I hope Jay Dyer will know this one day.
But it ain't gonna be today.
Check it out.
No, Father Joseph Honeycutt's cool.
Yeah, he was being cool.
Yeah.
No, I know he is. He's saying in a long-winded way that, you know, hopefully Jay comes to realize in his older years that he's forgotten more than he remembers.
Yeah.
Right? And that's a good thing, because it shows that...
Did you see Darth Geoff's feminized version of needgod.net?
Wait. Someone that was referring to Nikolai. Who's referring to me? I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Because she
We
kind of
got
bad.
Adam Green. The Russian network sends its regards.
Boo-hoo.
Adam
Russia's
Green's
based.
Tyrone Powers says Anglican, because anyone with the freaking anchor is always an Anglican. Texan and Anglican Christian, ACNA.
Oh, then he's not an Anglican. He's a schismatic.
Yeah. These people are fundamentally unserious about politics and religion, and then just shows the timestamps. What's wrong with these timestamps? The attempt to suppress Christianity in schools, the problems with Christian Zionism, what is Calvinism, a different view of salvation in the Bible. No, first off, politics was barely referenced other than to say that there are certain geopolitical interests. Geopolitics is not the same as contemporary politics and discussing policy. Discussing policy is very different than discussing politics. Redheaded libertarian, who's, by the way, still has me blocked all these years later because I called out libertarianism as fake and gay and basically no better than communist.
He was talking to you when you were reading my comments and you misread my comments. That's why he said you're an L reader.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I thought the same thing, Silver, but I'll be honest. After seeing it, I'm like, whoa, he kind of bad, though. Hold up. Wait, go back. Let's go back. NeedGod.net as a woman. What is this? This is awful. Darth Geoff made a thing with Taco Talks and NeedGod.net as women. It's on my page, at the top of my page.
Jeez.
I just posted it if you want to pull it up.
Protestant 9/11 today.
But I was like, hold on, she kind of bad, though.
The success of cringecore bangers caused this, by the way. Yes, that's true.
The posh redneck base.
Dude, Posh is like, he's one of those guys that could have been much bigger if he had been more consistent with his channel. He has absolute banger takes and is really smart, especially on entomology.
But is he happy?
Someone needs to pull up the picture before someone calls me gay.
Don't worry about it.
I can't handle it.
Someone said, remember when Tucker used to cover the news?
This is the news. What?
It is the news. And also, frankly, this is way better, more entertaining, and more informative than covering daily news. The Republicans just did this today, and this is why here's my take about it. Hey guys, today the Democrats did the same thing they always do: be complete jackasses. It's like,
please pull it up. Yeah, someone save me, please, before they go again.
Ireland needs to be Orthodox.
Someone said, please pull that up. Okay, fine, we'll pull it up.
It's on mine, yeah.
Oh, no.
She kind of bad, though. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. Am I crazy?
That's the AI made a female version of NeedGod.net and Taco Talks.
And if you want to know my type, it's probably the female Taco Talks. It's a bad thing. Okay,
Oh, no.
I have a problem.
Yeah, you do.
Dude, that's...
I'm like, how did they make her hot? What the hell?
That disturbs me on a moral level.
I've made the choice to have a very specific type of problem, and it's my problem.
Someone subscribed as soon as I showed him the picture, so that stuff really likes it.
There's a buddy of mine who's in the CIA. She's in the CIA now, but she always would joke with me. She's like, you know, man, if I tried to honeypot, you'd be easy. I'm like, how easy are you talking about? He goes, she looks at me, and I'm standing next to we were in Afghanistan at the time.
So
and
Matt
she goes, goth, serial killer, racist. And I'm like, get away from me.
All right, guys. So Matt, Christ and Guitar says, can we get Protestant on Tucker who actually represents us accurately without the straw man?
No.
Jay, Orthodox, reduces the Calvinistic Reformed view of salvation as mere mental assent. Well, that is,
which is what it is.
It's literally true. It's exactly what it is.
No, and then he's going to say it. He's going to say it. And he's like,
with the only change being God's disposition towards the person. That's literally your guys' system. You believe in salvation by decree. 1. 2, that it's a mental assent, and
Yeah.
3, that
Thank you, John.
there is no internal change in the
Thank you.
sinner in order to rightly count them as righteous. It is merely being classed something else. This is basic Calvinistic doctrine. Go read Calvin. Like, I'm sick and tired of these people saying, that's not Calvin. Read Calvin, dumbass. Sorry. Pisses me off.
Like, they know there's something wrong with their religion, and they know these things are necessary, but they just want to have it, you know?
Well,
just
again,
get
it's all
really-
mental assent, which is why, and Catholics are the same way. That's why they don't give the Eucharist to autistic people.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so mad. Okay, 2 Corinthians 5:17 is about baptismal regeneration, which I'm sure this guy denies.
Oh,
Do
they
you-
absolutely do.
Yeah.
That's not what any Protestant teaches. Okay, so first off, you've just made the term any. So that means if we
Please.
find a single Protestant who does teach that, need God done it. Then
This is
other
a
than
no true
hyper
Scotsman
free grace,
policy.
one saved, only saved, antinomian fringe. Again, this is
no
true Scotsman.
true Scotsman.
Yes. We teach justification by faith alone in Christ. A sinner goes from hating God to repenting and trusting him. How does that happen? How does the taxonomic change happen? By decree. There isn't an internal disposition change for you. You are imputed with the righteousness of Christ. There is no internal disposition change.
Someone said
You are
Pastor
incapable of repenting without God. That is this is the Calvinist view.
Nico says Pastor Mike should go on there to describe Protestantism properly. Agreed. Hear me out, though. He could do it himself just with one camera pointing, and he just rotate back and forth.
Perry Robinson could probably steelman the Protestant position better than any of their guys, frankly. This is a real spiritual regeneration by God's grace alone. So wait, is it faith alone or grace alone? That's the thing that I always...
They can't figure it out.
Is the grace first or is it the faith first? I'm confused. Is there free will or not free will? Not just rubber stamping an individual as saved and sending him on his way. That is absolutely what you guys do. That's how you guys do evangelism too. You guys don't catechize people. You guys go on the street.
Say your
find
shahada.
somebody. You say the Daoist script, and then you get them to affirm certain axioms, and then you say, you have been reborn in Christ, go find a good church. And that's it. That's all you do. You leave them to it.
Again.
And then they go to Victory Outreach.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let's not forget they literally believe everything Muslims believe. They believe in predestination. They believe in what's it called? That Allah is the creator of evil. They believe in a magical book that exists with God. Remember, hey, Base Pastor just told us the other day in a comment. I think you and I were in that same comment section, Nikolai, where he said the word was with God from the beginning. And I'm like, are you? He was quoting John 1. I'm like, the word was with God, and it was God. That was Jesus, you moron.
Yeah. Yes, we are. So he goes, yes, we're legally declared righteous at the moment of faith. So you agree with what Jay just said? So why is he outraged? Because he wants to. This is what he wants to do. He wants to pad it out with unnecessary fluff in order to make it sound more complicated and much more deeper than it really is. Salvation by decree.
Nico, there are hadiths that Mary is serving the prophet as one of his 100 wives. They are not respectful to her.
No,
and they said the reason that it's disgusting. I read that one. It was disgusting. It's saying that she's a virgin for Muhammad to deflower. It's disgusting.
Disgusting.
Lord of mercy.
That's my king's mama you're talking about right there, man.
There is therefore now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. Okay, so again, imputed righteousness, which is exactly what Jay prescribed. Just because you didn't like that he was succinct with it, doesn't mean that he was wrong. So far, he agrees with Jay. Isn't that funny? But Scripture also teaches sanctification, not as a means to achieve salvation. So again, Jay's not wrong. The only thing that changes...
This is Chat GPT. I can tell because he has an M dash. No one uses M dashes.
Yeah. But as a byproduct of becoming a new creation in Christ.
This is
2
baptismal
Corinthians.
regeneration.
Yeah.
Ah!
Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has passed away. Behold, the new has come. Okay, no one cares
I'm
about
getting
you.
my book. I'm getting the book. I'm getting the book.
Go get it. And those whom predestined, he also called, and those whom he called is also justified, and those whom he justified is also glorified.
I have no idea what he just said. It's all just gobbledygook.
Complete gobbledygook. So in the end, he says, Jay didn't represent us. Well, actually, he completely did. It's just way more nuanced, I promise.
No, it's not.
This reply softens the caricature, but doesn't escape the critique.
I do too. But I'd still assume anyone using them is using AI. Sorry.
Yes, but there are some people that
I use them too.
Some people still use M-dashes appropriately, but frankly, you should avoid using them simply because M-dashes are so well associated with AI now that you can't really use it without it being accused of it nowadays. So
I would just say is where I would assume it's AI, because I use M-dashes in like when they're speaking and they're interrupted. That's when an M- is what you're supposed to use, right?
Well, for the most part, yeah. I mean, there's other ways to use it, but but those are super high tier academic ways of using M-dashes. No one uses that in just regular language. Reformed soteriology does prioritize forensic justification as the decisive act, distinct from sanctification. That is true. There is a distinction from sanctification. They are not intricately involved in one another. A framework rooted in nominalism and voluntarism epistemology. Exactly. Geoff, fantastic response.
Base take.
Economic said, what even is the unified Protestant teaching to defend aside from sola fide and sola scriptura? Both are man-made traditions. The reason why Tucker is heavily questioning Protestantism is because Protestants have no lasting or unified cultural influence, as Jay shared. Exactly.
Yeah, this whole chapter is about baptism.
Well, and this is like guiding the Holy Spirit. It's almost laughable, the pattern of degradation of the Theotokos and all these so-called Abrahamic religions. Well, it's because, and like my mother had to deal with this too. And this is for any of you guys trying to precept your mother. It worked for me. It probably won't work for you. But my mother has a lot of respect for me, and I have a very good mother. But it took a little while to kind of make her understand, and that was one of the key things I had to hit her with, was that Catholics have crazy beliefs about Mary. The Orthodox do not. Our beliefs about Mary are not nuts, schizo stuff. We do not believe Mary came down from heaven to say, Russia bad, Portuguese child. Tell everyone Russia evil, deserve to die, nuke Russia. Like, they literally believe in stuff like that in Catholicism. Why? I don't know.
It was the demon, that's why.
Yeah, because it was a demon. Shocking.
Yeah.
But, and my point being ultimately is that that's a good thread to pull with Protestants, is to kind of get them to realize like if you just viewed it as a kingdom, if he was the king, if Jesus Christ is king, which he is, Christ is king, you are insulting the king's mother. How does that make any sense? And in what world would that ever be considered acceptable? And it's because Protestants have disconnected humanity from Christ entirely. They do not see him as a person. They see him solely as an irrelevant being that floats around and has no feelings or emotions. He loved his mother. His mother breastfed him. When he was born and formed in the womb, her blood is what made his blood. That he poured out for the redemption of the world, right? Her blood. It's a big deal, and it should be acknowledged that way.
Yeah, I mean, every year, like the Dormition, I fast the entire thing, like no meat, like the entire thing. I pretty much.
I was baptized on the Dormition of the Theotokos.
That's my favorite season. It's coming up next month. But
if
I don't know if you guys
to get married, I'd want to get married sometime around Dormition.
I heard this Protestant retard said, like, when Mary at the wedding at the wedding, right? And then you know how Christ said, called Virgin Mary a woman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They said, you see how Christ is disrespecting his mother? He didn't call him mother. He calls him woman. I'm like, there is no way you exist as a creature.
And it's the word in the Greek, if I recall, again, Father Ron or like Father Stephen Young can correct me, please do if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure is basically the word they used for Eve. So he was calling her the new Eve when he said that. It was like, it was a respectful tone. Like it was considered like saying, like if my mother walked up and said, "Timothy, get over here and do this," I'd say, "Yes, ma'am." He didn't even call her his mom. Like,
Well,
you see,
guys, I don't know if you guys saw my my glorious
that's what I heard.
my Southern Baptist rant, but Orthodox, the other day about the Theotokos, because someone asked, "What do you guys view about the Theotokos?" And I said, "In this house, we believe that the Theotokos gave birth to the Son of God, and through her, the entire world was brought under and renewed in Christ. Amen." You know,
Yeah,
and I just when I was
if anyone has a nerdy priest that is willing to read and proofread my book, please let me know, because I need help, because I need a priest to make sure I'm not saying heresy in my book. But
your priest is nerdy.
Yeah, but he's busier than like anyone, dude. I never even see the man anymore.
Who is your priest?
Father Michael.
Oh, nice.
But I just want to say, yeah, it corrects the Greek. Yeah, the KJV corrects the Greek. My point being is that, again, even if he did say, it's kind of jarring, and this is my point, is like, especially with Protestants and how feminized Protestantism is. Why would you cut the woman out of the most important woman, the most blessed among women, right? Why would you cut her out? And this is the thing where they say, well, she was just his mom. I'm like, she was chosen by God and asked if she would accept that.
Yeah, so I mean, the reason it's psychological, it's like they want to just do everything that's anti-Catholic. They don't even care if it's right.
Well, it's also because Protestantism is so feminized that Protestant women cannot stand the idea that there is a woman who is holier and closer to God than they are.
Well, and another interesting fact too, and this is a science fact, fun fact of the day for the weird scientists and people enjoyers in the chat. Boy children leave part of their DNA in their mother when they are born, and the mother maintains that forever. It never goes away.
The most holy Theotokos, amen, is our mother in the faith. She is the new Eve. And she brings about the salvation of the world.
Pastor Steven Anderson would get destroyed in battle by Father Michael, and I would shoot him with a taser, and there's no way he'd make it. I have a taser right next to me right now.
He would scream,
Father, he has a weakness to electricity. If you ever had to battle Father, or not Father, Steven, if you ever had to battle Steven Anderson, remember he's weak to electricity.
He's water type.
Yeah. Wait, what state is he in?
Arizona.
Arizona.
He got tased by Border Patrol is what I'm referencing. Every time I see him post something, I post that, and everyone likes it, and I just laugh. I know I shouldn't take so much joy in him getting shot with a taser, but it's just so funny because he's so insufferable.
I need to
wait. There's actual footage of that?
Oh, I'll send it to you. 100%. Dude, I have it's a 3. He posted it himself because he thought it was an own, and it's literally the guy doing this. Dude, please just get out of the car. Please step out of the car, sir.
No,
I don't want to. And he's like, look, dude, I'm going to explain this to you. I'm going to break your window. I'm going to shoot you with a taser. Do you understand? I don't want to do that. Please step out of the car. And the guy's like, make me. And he smashes the window, shoots him with a taser.
And you just hear
Oh no, C-Boy says I can't do it because Steven Anderson has developed a resistance. That's why he beat his children with electrical cables. It was some kind of like Schadenfreude thing for him to get vengeance to make them suffer as he suffered.
Yeah, well, he also has learned that it's very effective at changing behavior. So what he's going to do from now on is electroshock therapy to get his son from stop being a troon. So
what?
Yeah, his son. Four of his oldest children have basically nothing to do with him, and one of them became like a troon.
Yeah,
you know who I'm working on right now myself? I'm working on what's his name? What's that guy's name in like?
They can't make Christ was still God while in a room.
No. What's that guy? I'm working on Ken Hovind right now.
Oh jeez. Well,
Ken Hovind?
Yeah.
Are you gonna debate him?
No, I'm texting him.
Are you asking him to come to the church?
Yeah. No, he's asking him. He's trying to send him to Victory Outreach.
Actually, and that's the other end of this is we really do need to be like reaching out to people and saying, hey, you should really be coming to the church. You know,
Yeah.
I don't think Kent Hovind
Noah
is like
honored.
hostile to the church.
No, I
Abraham
don't think so either.
honored.
He's a very
He's an
Kent
affable.
Hovind. His entire like thing is Genesis stuff. I don't think he has like a super strong theological foundation, really, honestly.
No, but
I
like
think
if we can, yeah, you know, that's what I'm trying to do. Is like, okay, you're trying to prove God to be true, but it's like you have all these problems in your logic, right?
Dude, orthodoxy is such. Like I always tell people, if you become orthodox, it's so easy to be an apologist in orthodoxy because you're right. So it's like imagine how much work you have to do to be like a Protestant apologist and even be decent.
Yeah.
Even Cleve talks about that. He's like, I spent so much time beating myself up, poring over text. Because then I became Orthodox. And was like, oh, this is way easier. It's like, yeah, it is because you don't have to fight the text.
Dustin, that's a good point. That's a really good point. Noah honored, Abraham honored, Moses honored, married. Nah.
But this is the point: is that the devil likes to use things like the Catholic Church. He literally made everyone hate Mary by making the Catholics weirdly obsessed with her to a point of actual like cringe, gross, like what are you talking about nonsense. Like one of the key things that they say they hate about the Orthodox is we believe that she suffered from original sin. Yeah, we think she was human, dude. She also died of old age.
Silvar, what else was going on in the 1930s?
Shouldn't you and Hovind be on the same side because you're both young and Earth creationists? What about Kenneth Copeland because he has those witch eyes? Kidding. I wish it. Yeah. My thing is, I want, if it were up to me, these people, they'd all become Orthodox, right? That's what I would want. And
every single one of them.
And what you'd see, I think, is a lot of these people who are semi-educated or smart, they would just realize the weight is so off their shoulders that it's so much easier for them to argue and make debates. And
someone says,
if they were just Orthodox.
Someone did ask a question of me. It's a serious question. Why did Christ die on the cross in your view? And someone answered, I think, really well, to conquer sin, death, and the devil.
To undo death by death. There we go.
Yeah, my PFP used to be an image of a knight with like a chair at a Renaissance fair beating another knight who's on the floor, and it's the death of Christ, and then he's holding death, and then he's hitting death that's on the floor.
That's awesome. Yeah, Nico says, I like being Orthodox because people think I'm smart, but I'm actually stupid. Because it's easy.
Yeah.
It's so easy. You don't have to think that hard because it's like, oh, I literally just agree with everyone that came before today.
I said, I love this. Tyrone Powers, this is the Anglican, he's or the schismatic as Rafa said. This is such an insane series of timestamps. These people are fundamentally unserious about politics and religion. And I said the Anglican screams when you aren't even hitting them. They're such an unserious group.
Yeah.
You know, the one thing about Anglicans, right, is it's just a pick your own religion.
Someone said, I would rather have a drill enter one of my ears and a jackhammer through the other and turn both of them on until meeting in the middle before burying a single planked time of Jay Dyer's voice. Jay's voice is actually silky smooth. He's got a nice deep gravelly voice there. It's actually very pleasant to the ears. He should do audiobook readings.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, he has it's not like his voice is like, it's not like his voice is like this, guys. And he's talking like this the whole time. You know what I mean? Like,
you know, I would
it's
just
not
say,
like Alex Jones. It's not like he's talking like Alex Jones for like 6 hours. Hey, guys, it's all about the
dude. Him
the
versus
globalists.
Sneeko was glorious, though. I was. The Anglican is immunized against all dangers. One may call him a scoundrel, a parasite, swindler, or profiteer. It all runs off him like water off a raincoat. But you call him an Anglican, and that he has a female bishop, and you will be astonished at how he recoils, how injured he is, how he suddenly shrinks back. I've been found out.
If morality comes from God, it isn't objective. It's just God's subjective preferences. Not if God is impassible. If God's not impassible, then morality is objective because it comes from his very essence. It comes from his very being. It makes no sense.
Ridvan needs to check out for a while. And thanks for. I want to say, Darth Geoff, that was very kind for you to say. I appreciate when people are kind of being and saying, "Hey, guess what? if he's still inquiring, he's trying to become Orthodox, we should give him real advice, which is get off the internet, dude. Take your time, follow your.
Well, I think
he's not, but my
advice
is still the same.
Really did him a lot of damage. Whatever happened with his wife and stuff like that, or not his. I don't know if they were married.
Well, I mean, I just don't think he's genuine. I said it first minute on my channel. I said this is not genuine.
No, and I don't think so. I'm not saying anything, guys. I'm not saying he needs to, or I'm not saying he's genuine or anything. But I'm saying if someone told me today, like if Miko said, I'm a terrible, crazy, furry communist, what should I do? I'd say, stop, get out of your fursuit, stop being a communist, and actually submit to the church.
Burn the fursuit on live stream.
And that's what I would tell him, right? And so I think we should be honest and say, hey, I'm not going to say anything mean about it because catechesis is different for everyone, right? And I think we as a culture need to, I don't know how many people y'all went through catechesis with who were angry, like if you got baptized before they did. And they're like, I'm like, it's not a competition, guys. You know what I mean? Like some people have more things to work through than others. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's any different than it would be if you have cancer and your doctor puts you on chemo for another year. And I'm like, loser, I already got done with my cancer.
I was overjoyed when the couple who were kind of in catechism before me got received into the church. I took the day off and I went to their reception.
Yeah. Here's this is from Gregory, a friend of the channel, good guy, iconographer as well. That's what he does for a living, in fact. Really, really good guy. He says, your priest does reject your belief. Your bishop does reject your belief. And this is him responding to Miko because we have emails. We have emails from his diocese themselves saying, no, this is a problem. We know it's a problem. We're trying to address it. That's what they said. He says, you know this, we know this. We've been told directly that you are a known problem, and nothing you say is in line with what is taught by Bishop Matthew or the priests of the Diocese of Soros. I personally believe that you are knowingly misleading your followers on this and will continue to believe so unless you can definitively prove otherwise, because this is what I was told by your bishop. You are trying to slander and discredit us because you know that you've been exposed, and the only people convinced by your campaign of feigned outrage are those who already choose their side in this long ago. You're asking people to take your word in this. We are not. You are asking people to act like you have authority, which, by the way, is actually a violation of the canons of true law, among others. You are the one accusing your enemies of knowingly lying. There is not a single time that I have lied about you, and I am not willing to stand on that before God and his saints. Why don't you stop lying about your opponents, about good priests, and maybe we'll care about your feelings. Yeah, exactly. Stop lying about priests. Stop slandering priests. What comes from you is textbook prelest. We can say that on the authority of your bishop. You do not have a blessing to teach. You do not represent the teachings of the Diocese of Soros, of the Moscow Patriarchate. You are stirring up strife in the churches of God based entirely on your own ego. And you know all of this. Go ahead and screenshot and retweet me all you want. I don't care. Somebody who's been Orthodox for less than 2 years doesn't have the authority to tell me or anyone else what to do or what to teach of the saints is. You are so far out of line from the character and example of the saints in their life and conduct and teaching. It would be foolish for anyone to take anything you say seriously, and they do so at their own peril. You will have to give account for all this, Dmitry, and I hope that you have to do so before it is too late for you. We are pleading from you to turn away from this madness. Furthermore, I know that I pray for you. I prayed for you this morning, and not some ridiculous swing righteous prayer like show Nico how wrong he is, but rather for your health, life, and peace and salvation, just as I do for my dearest friends. The great irony is that your entire approach is modernist, but you have such little knowledge in the fields of philosophy and theology that you don't even know what this term means when you read it, and have tried to cohort it to fit your insane agenda. You have a spiritual and emotional problems, Miko, the furry. That is what I truly and sincerely believe. I'm laying this all out for you, knowing full well you're going to continue to crash out on me, but I don't care. Your opinions mean very little to me. I will listen to your priest and my bishop and to the saints and not some kid on the internet. Quit stalking me. And then he just posted all that.
People are being based in the chat and want to talk about how great Mary is. Her womb is so vast it could hold the heavens.
So true.
Based.
It literally did.
And here's the thing, right? Like if you were just, I only use this as an example because it's not the same thing. I love my mother. If you were like, if you met my mother and we served together and you said, "Hey, I love Sergeant Collins," and you shook my mother's hand and said, "Thank you for having such a great son," I'd be like, "Wow, thank you for respecting my mother."
Yeah.
If you walked up to my mother and said, "You're just a woman," I'd be like, "Watch your mouth." That's my mother.
You're just like every other woman. You're not special. Imagine saying that about Christ's mother. You're not special. When she herself says, "Everyone in the world will call me blessed. All generations will call me blessed. All generations." I don't remember God correcting her and saying, "Oh, well, actually, not all generations. You're no special. You're not special. You're just a tool for me to use to get the Son of God into the world. But afterwards, kind of disposable. No offense."
We say it in the liturgy all the time. She's more honorable than cherubim, more glorious and beyond compared than the seraphim. Based. It's beautiful. Like, why would you want to be part of this cringe? Wait, is that Justin Gasky? Who's that? I'm looking this up. This better not be like
protection of Christians that cannot be put to shame, or mediation unto the Creator unfailing.
You guys have interesting translations.
Wait, so I'm like a UFC fighter? Hold on. Oh, that's so weird.
I'm in the Antiochian Archdiocese. We don't have any like.
I think he's saying that you have you look like you have Down syndrome.
Yeah, I kind of do, because I mean, this guy's got like where's he from? I'm willing to wager he's either German or he's like half Irish. Because usually, if I look like someone that he has a red beard, no. So like, I'll never get over when I was like, I had my family in.
He's of Mexican descent.
There's no way.
And is of German descent. His father is German.
I knew it. We all look the same, guys. We have
his father was a colonizer, guys. Colonized the womb. So
colonized the womb. Oh gosh. Well, I mean, it's like I said, like the whole thing with Miko and these guys is, it's like the best part of Orthodoxy is all you have to do, really, is submit to your priest, submit to your bishop, and it's like even when we're on here, what do we always say? Ask your priest. If you disagree, if your priest disagrees with me, your priest is probably right. Take his advice, because when we are called to judge, I don't want God to call me and be like, "This guy thought some stupid stuff. Did you teach him that?" I'm like, whoa. I told him to go to his priest. Please, don't lump me in there. I don't want to be called for that. Like Miko, you really want to be called for every false belief why would you even risk it?
He literally said that he believes he is the one that is saving Orthodoxy from modernism. For modernism, apparently.
But it's a modernist. He's in a modernist Protestant position. Yeah, it's so bizarre.
You could repeat it a million times till Sunday. They will always say that. So, all right, guys. Well, that being said, it was a wonderful stream. I am gonna get going here. Thank you, everyone who super chatted, and it was a nice time. And we will, if I don't see you this week until Friday evening, just a reminder to everyone who's in the chat, since we have a big channel right now, we are doing our first session 1 of our TTRPG Warhammer Fantasy. So if you want to watch the session and enjoy just us having a good time, BSing in the chat, things like that, you're more than welcome. We're going to try and make it as entertaining as possible, but it's our first one, so give us some grace while we try and figure things out and make sure things go smoothly. So our wonderful DM is Timothy.
Wait.
So.
Okay, I want to respond to one person, Dustin, where he says no one's righteous, not one. What is Saint Michael the Archangel righteous?
Yes, eyes rolling. Yeah, he's eyes rolling, but
okay.
Noah's declared righteous.
Job it goes on and on.
Moses is declared righteous.
Saint John the Baptist.
Saint John
the Baptist parents.
The Southern Baptist.
I mean, the list.
When Jesus was baptized,
Abraham,
soft rock.
Lot is considered a righteous man, right? What does it say that the entire place of Sodom and Gomorrah, like out of all those places, there's only one righteous man among them?
And
So,
it's not his
again,
daughters.
Yeah. So
Korea's a cool place to live. It's not bad. I think it's cool. Now that I know how much cheaper it is, it's like not like Japan at all. That's nice.
much cheaper, yeah. Much cheaper. Well, Japan is cheaper outside of the big cities,
The
but it's
problem
still
is, like,
more expensive.
Yeah.
In
When I have
Japan,
some-
you
when I
can't
have
live
some money
outside the big
saved up,
cities
I'll
if you
come
want
to
to have
Korea
work.
and start Korean Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, well, in Korea, it's a little bit more doable because it's a smaller country. There's hot spots of
Chick-fil-A.
activity, but anyways, guys,
C-Boy
God
said,
bless.
not John the Orthodox. He's got a point there. Hold on.